hair especially.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Pull it up whenever you can.
Yeah.
But last 5 games, 19 of 66, 9 of 38 behind the arc. And I don't know if he's pressing. I mean, Aaron Suttles made this point on Bama and Bourbon yesterday that maybe it's a situation where, eligibility is up. He got his draft grade last year. It wasn't great. One of the reasons he came back, based on his size, he really needs to maybe prove a lot. I don't think he does. I think he needs to go out and play like he played last year.
And he'll get a shot.
The thing with Auburn and Duke, I don't know if you heard Jimmy Dykes talking about this during the Clemson-Kentucky game. The Maui hangover for Auburn. And I haven't really followed this over the years, but he said that's a real thing. Like, people will talk about the Maui hangover because, guys, that's a real thing.
That you spend so much time in that time zone in Hawaii. You fly back. You're on the road in Hawaii.
Yep.
Beach time.
That's right.
A lot of fun. Then you fly back to the East Coast or the South, the Gulf Coast.
They've been back for a week now. I mean, it's not like they just landed from Maui in, Durham, North Carolina, but Jimmy Dykes was talking about that. He's like, that Maui hangover is a real thing, and that's what Auburn will have to overcome.
We'll see.
Think about it. You come back, and then you go off for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's right. I don't know. I don't think he would call it a real thing if he didn't know. It's the hair. I mean, there's no...
Yeah, but if I said Wanda Sykes is his mom, you'd be like,
maybe. I've seen his mom shoot those free throws in the bleachers, so I know it's not. But the eyes and the hair, I think from eyes up to hair, I could see it maybe.
In that Auburn contest tonight, number one offense versus number one defense, the advantage will be the Auburn defense, number 7 in the country, to the 23rd offense. And Cooper Flagg's a dynamic scorer. 15 points, though, is his average per game.
Yeah, 15-8 guy, but he's going to get better. I mean, the more comfortable he gets, and, he is one of these guys that can absolutely do everything. But Broom is playing at such a high level, coming off being the MVP at that Maui Invitational. I mean, he was unstoppable out there.
And to me, Alabama, who's continuing to figure out their rotation, now has to figure it out without Latrell Wrightsell. More minutes for some people. May work out really good for LeBaron Philon and Aiden Holloway if they live up to that role. Final thought here now on what we saw last night. And Alabama is in a very good position, but they don't control their own destiny. Only the win and in teams control their own destiny. SMU's in a really good spot. Just around the table one more time. Your final thought on what we saw last night with Alabama.
Yeah, I think Alabama is in. Obviously, if SMU wins, if Clemson wins, and it's like this iconic down-to-the-wire finish, Alabama could be in trouble. Outside of that, Clemson wins this game by a touchdown plus. I think Alabama's in.
And for Kalen DeBoer, if he's able to secure a top 5 recruiting class and to be one of these 12 teams in the playoffs and maybe win some games, man, you can't ask for a better first year. You beat one of your two biggest rivals.
Ask for a better first year, but I mean, I think it's an acceptable first year is the way I would put it. Like, if they're in the playoffs, and what did you say, if they're in playoffs and they advance a round?
Yeah,
or just
if you get in, you advance.
You get in and you
and
advance.
You got a top 5 class.
You get in and you advance. There's a lot that's forgotten.
I think even if you get in, I think there's a lot that's forgotten because most people, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, they said 9-3 or 10-2. That was kind of the number. If 9-3 gets you in, we didn't expect 9-3 would get you in. But if 9-3 gets you in, and there's only 4 SEC teams that get into this, I mean, there's a lot to build off that. I think all will be forgiven if they do get in here.
I think you forget a lot about Vanderbilt and you forget a lot about Tennessee. It is hard to forget what happened in Norman, Oklahoma. But if they get in advance, maybe you forget what happened in Norman, Oklahoma. Maybe so. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see the temperature of Alabama fans.
And you beat Auburn and LSU. You lost to Tennessee, 2 of your 3 biggest rivals. Beat Georgia, another big rival. And that top 5 recruiting class is pretty huge, too. Now, we've already seen Kobe Prentice. Reports say nothing official until the 9th that he will hit the portal. You would expect to see some others hit the portal as well. You just want them to do it if they're after the playoffs until that announcement is made on Sunday. All right, very busy day. We'll have all the reaction to the basketball tonight on our social media platforms and tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios. The next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Here we go now, live on a Thursday as we roll in college football talk, recruiting, which all of a sudden pushed to like level 3 of the conversation after National Signing Day. It's weird it's there, but that's where it is. But
I like it better there.
Around these parts, we get to basketball first, and we'll start off just as a big picture SEC ACC challenge, because we all know the ACC. I mean, you saw the commercial every for 2 nights, twice in a game, how the ACC is the premier basketball league in the country. They have that commercial that's looked like it was made in 1987. Here is the final standings of the SEC ACC basketball challenge. That's 14-2. 14-2.
That's the current score?
That's
Were you at the first
So
media
Duke
timeout?
and Clemson are your only teams that win.
And they were home court for those two.
Yeah.
Those games may be flipped if it was the other way around.
Well, I mean, you could say that for some other games.
Oh, yeah,
too.
you could too. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying that those were big marquee wins for ACC marquee programs against marquee SEC programs there. But 14-2 was a domination, including Mississippi State blitzing 18th ranked, Pitt, including Florida, who's unbeaten, by the way.
Hey, nobody's talking about Todd Golden.
No, that's what I was saying. Nobody's talking about Todd Golden.
Yeah,
Nobody's
boy,
talking
that
about his
story disappeared.
I mean, it really did. And I just wonder with the just how sensational that story was. And, I mean, that's one of those stories that would run forever, especially with a high-profile coach at a big-time program.
They're unbeaten and number 13 in the country, and nobody's talking about them. They could be really, really good. And to have that out there, and it's not like on TMZ or something.
Well, I'm just surprised that one thing or another hasn't come out.
Well, I'm with you, yeah.
Yeah, like Todd Golden, his camp completely shutting it down and saying, hey, we're pursuing, these allegations, or, whether it's
legal recourse or whatever you're saying. Yeah, it's just interesting, too, that, like, you do wonder if you are just the school that says, we're not suspending our coach, we're just going to go and let him coach through this. I mean, that shows you eventually the story does go away. Now, that doesn't mean it goes away forever.
Well, I mean,
but you don't deal with it day in, day out.
You could have a lot of backtracking going on behind the scenes. You could have payoffs going on behind the scenes, or anything in between that could go on. But it's not at the forefront right now. I only brought it up that their basketball team is really good and nobody's talking about them.
Well, and I wanted to bring up the ACC real quick. I mean, they haven't won a national championship. You know the last time they won a national championship?
Virginia?
It was Virginia.
Yeah. Double dribble?
Yeah, when Auburn was in a Final Four. I mean, how long ago does that seem? And everybody talks about Premier Conference.
Well, that was just, what was it, 19 or 18?
It was 19.
19.
That's been a minute, though.
That's
for a basketball conference.
You tell me the next time the SEC
20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Is that 5 national
To be
championships?
fair, there wasn't a tournament in 2020.
That's
right.
true.
So
But
yeah.
it's been 4. But you tell me 4 years that we will have without an SEC team winning a national
If
championship
the
in football.
SEC went 4 years without winning a football championship,
It'd be major news.
The
Yeah.
entire world would be yelling about it.
Well, that's how we get to 14-2
That's right.
in the SEC ACC challenge, because they aren't what they used to be in the ACC, and the SEC has taken over. We'll start, though, with one of the losses, because I think it's a compliment to Auburn, the headlines I was seeing from those that covered Duke last night. Duke's great recruiting class gets signature win, right? Duke upsets Auburn. Those were 2 headlines in the Raleigh-Durham area there. So
That was a stupid headline.
what?
They were favored.
They were favored.
but
They
Duke
upset
was
Auburn.
I mean,
But
Auburn
that's still
was
a
the number
stupid
2
headline.
team.
Yeah.
Okay. Auburn's the number 2 team in the country. What did you think of the game last night?
I mean, look, I think Duke played their asses off. Janai Broome is Janai Broome. Cooper Flagg, the way he played in the second half. Auburn, they shoot 45%, but Duke goes out and shoots 50%. I mean, that's impressive to do against that Auburn defense. You heard Jay Billis say it all night. Like, he continued to compliment Auburn as maybe the best team in college basketball. But still, I mean, this is a situation where, as good as Auburn is, it is in Cameron Indoor. And I think it was like their 5,000th consecutive sellout. And a team that had already lost 2 games. I thought the biggest factor was Isaiah Evans, a guy that we didn't see against, Kentucky and Arizona and in some of these big games. everybody had hyped this kid coming up with Cooper Flagg, and he comes in 16 minutes, 18 points. Those were a big 18 points off the bench.
All in the first half, right? He disappeared in the second half. I don't know if they did adjustments. He didn't have the same rotation, the same shots or what.
And I thought the Pettiford kid for Auburn is going to be a star.
When the lights are bright, that kid plays for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Turnovers, they just won a lot in that game. 4 for Duke, 8 for Auburn. Only 12 turnovers between the two teams. It was a fantastic college basketball game.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time in the game where Billis pointed out, we have played X amount of minutes, and it wasn't a significant amount of minutes. There's been a turnover in this game.
I think it was 16 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy how long they had played without a turnover. I mean, that speaks very well of both those teams. Both those teams are going to be fine, obviously. It's, this is what we want in college football, matchups like this in the pre-conference. But when you get them in basketball, you're like, oh, man, that was a great game. Doesn't impact either team either way.
Oh, I think you walk away saying that Auburn can play at Cameron Indoor. There will not be a more hostile environment they play in on the road. They can be competitive in that situation, which leads you to think they can win any game they play this year.
I think Auburn's the better team. And I had this conversation with our friend Alex at Odie's last night. He was like, who do you have in this game coming up? And I was like, I got Duke minus 2.5. And he's like, man, every time I look, Auburn's up by like 10 or 15. And I swear, after I went up on stage to get everything set up, they rolled it up after the Alabama-UNC game, did the announcements, wrote down the team names, looked up, Auburn's up 11.
Yeah. I mean,
13-2.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, he was right.
They raced out of the gate. Like, there was no – I mean, they weren't flustered by the whole scene or anything.
That was Miles Kelly early on.
Yeah.
And then he sort of – didn't stay that hot, obviously, the whole game. He sort of disappeared a little bit, too.
I thought late. I give Auburn credit for hanging around because, again, minus the 2.5. I mean, it could have come down to a final shot to cover the number. Chad Baker-Mazara, though, like how chippy everything was getting at the end, I was absolutely shocked they didn't call a foul.
Not when he stepped into the crowd.
No, because there was nothing there.
Yeah.
I mean, and Billis was right on that. Look, there was no elbows thrown. Let's just get them up. Let's separate them. But when he ran through the player on the inbounds.
I really think they were reviewing, and I know it seemed like they were reviewing Chad Baker-Mazara stepping in. I think they were reviewing whether or not the Duke player had done something to the Auburn player. I think, was it Chaney or somebody?
Yeah, because you saw an elbow fly, but it didn't hit anybody, and it didn't look malicious. It didn't like it was thrown, but like in the heat of the action,
but I think they were checking. They were checking to see if the Auburn player had got hurt or hit, and then they go to the inbound, and Chad Baker I mean, they would have been debated whether that was targeting or not. He sort of lowered his shoulder and launched in an upward motion, and there was no call there.
I think Chad Baker will end up being a good role player in the NBA.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, he's got a little Dennis Rodman in it.
That's what I was about to say. He's got a little Dennis Rodman.
Well, he's got offense. He chips a little bit. He does have good offense. The guy can shoot the three. He's unbelievable from the stripe. I mean, when you got a guy that shoots right at 90%, he can handle it. He can do everything. Play really good defense. He will definitely play in the league.
Yeah, the Cooper Flagg kid was impressive. I think that was his best game of his career at Duke so far. And Janai Broome is just as consistent as it comes with a double-double. So Auburn loses there. They were the number 2 team in the AP poll. They may not drop. I haven't checked KenPom this morning. Check KenPom.
I'll check it. They would have been, I think, Lance unanimous number 1 if they'd have won that game because Kansas lost to Creighton.
I still think they might end up being number 1.
They may be number 1.
Based on the way Kansas didn't really show up in Omaha last night against Creighton. I mean, Creighton never trailed in that game.
Yeah. They did not. And
I bring it up, Brown, because it was the first time since December 10th, 1983, that 3 of the top 5 teams lost in the AP poll. And Duke lost the night before. They were number 4, so you got a lot of losses at the top. Auburn could hold on as the number 1 team in the country.
That was number 1 in KenPom, currently Auburn, and number 3 currently Duke. So that's what you saw last night, 1 versus 3 Alabama. I know we'll talk about them in a moment. They're number 7 in today's KenPom.
I think Duke moved up from where, 9 to number 3?
I don't have yesterday's. I don't know where they were yesterday.
There is the KenPom that Scott has pulled for us.
Yeah, so it's Auburn, Tennessee, Duke, Zags, Houston, Iowa State, Alabama was 10. I think they're up to 7. There's that Florida team nobody's talking about, Kansas and Marquette, who took a big loss last night on the road at Iowa State, another team in that top 10 graphic there. So you've had a lot of the top 10 playing each other already. Like Houston's played Alabama and Auburn. Duke's played Auburn. Iowa State's played Auburn.
I mean, did you see the graphic they showed in the Bama game of how often Nate Oates has scheduled the hardest schedule in the country? It's every year.
It
was like first. They were pointing out straight the schedule.
It's just funny. They knock off Carolina. Who do they have next? Creighton,
who just beat Kansas, the number one
and
team.
Kalkbrenner is
digits.
back. I'll tell you another team we're not really talking about is Tennessee.
They're number 2 in the KenPom right now.
That Tennessee team is legit.
Forrester told me he thinks they're the best team in the league.
Could be.
Is that what you said?
I do. I think Tennessee's the best team that I've seen.
So Scott Palm has Tennessee number 1.
Yeah, and that's coming. That's coming from one of the Auburn crazies. What do you call those guys on the sidelines down there?
Cliff Dwellers.
That was the old days.
I don't know if they're the Cliff Dwellers anymore.
Were you at school for the Cliff Dwellers, Scott?
That would have been 90-something to 2000-something.
Yeah.
That's probably about in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
You might have been a Cliff Dweller.
I was not. I was working in the arena.
Couldn't be a Cliff Dweller.
It seems like you were a Lebo howler or something like that.
Lebo howler.
Those are good times.
What was the equivalent?
Better than the Barbie times.
Yeah.
What was the Alabama version where they had the hard hats on?
Oh, they still have the hard hats. But I forget what they called them.
Was it Mark's Madness?
Oh, Mark's Madness.
Madness,
Yeah. That's kind of weak.
Hard hats are still there, the blue collar things. They may have left and come back. Which, by the way, if you've got that business in Tuscaloosa selling those little plastic hard hats, you just crank those out all the time.
Right outside the Coliseum every night.
Let's get to Alabama after we tell you about a couple of our great sponsors. One of them, our friends with Inverness Country Club.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to go check out Inverness again yesterday, catch up with Aaron, and met their new general manager out there. Just a fantastic club. They've got memberships that fit everyone. We've got a lot of friends that actually are members out at Inverness Country Club. They've got the social memberships. They've got the golf membership, the newly expanded driving range, child care, also a big plus. You and your wife on a day of golf or tennis, guess what? You can drop the kid, go have yourself a day on the court or course. Dinner with friends, knowing your kid is safe on site is a massive plus. Best days happen at Inverness. To take a tour of this unbelievable club. Aaron had somebody call one of our next round viewers yesterday. Make sure you mention the next round. We would appreciate that. 205-991-8608. That's 205-991-8608 or online ICCalabama.com.
And as you continue your Christmas shopping, make sure to include Academy Sports and Outdoors. The brand new store right there on Highway 280 here in Birmingham is wide open. 4610 US Highway 280. It's in the old Best Buy in the Target Shopping Center. Great selection of trusted brands like Nike, Stanley, Brooks, Carhartt, Blackstone, Yeti, Titleist, Shimano, and more. Shop online, shop on the app, or just head right in to Academy Sports and Outdoors.
All right, Auburn plays again Sunday against Richmond at 11 a.m., and then they get Ohio State on the 14th in Atlanta, a team that was down by 100, it seemed like, at halftime against Maryland. So Auburn, their tough schedule to start off the season, a little bit easier over the next two games as they come over that trip in the Maui Invitational Championship. For Alabama, Nate Oates last night after the win, first thing he was doing was talking about his league, the SEC, and what they did to the ACC. Here's Coach Nate Oates.
I think it's obviously good because once you get in January, all you play is the SEC. So you need to establish yourself as an unbelievably great league in the non-conference, because then when we're playing all those teams, those games go a long ways. So even a tough loss on the road in the SEC is not really going to hurt you a lot in the committee's eyes if your league's doing this well in the non-conference. So great job by the league, emphasizing basketball. Really good coaches in our league and some really good athletes, and it's tough night in, night out. You got to play. I mean, this was a great environment, but some other great environments in the SEC we got to go into and win. So it's good we're able to go into an environment like this, get a win and get some confidence playing in a tough road environment.
Yeah, and before we talk about what Alabama did to that environment, 22,000 fans, and they were very quiet after the start of that game. He's right about that. And then Billis and Jay Williams both said this league will get 10 in, maybe 11, maybe 12 into the NCAA tournament.
Well, can I say this without Alabama fans getting upset? I thought I didn't think they played their best basketball in the first half, and they were still up 9. I thought, it's a great performance. What?
You're going to say something that both of us have already said this morning.
Well, look.
You're just doing it on the air.
Look, it's great to win going away in Chapel Hill. The number was 230-18 versus non-conference opponents in that building going into last night. So these are games they don't lose. They won the game going away. I just don't really know how good North Carolina is.
But I always do this in football. I always do this in football. Is that not the way you're supposed to beat a team that's 4-4 in a good conference, though? On the road? I mean, yes. That's what I would say. Is I don't know how good Carolina is either. They're 25th in the KenPom today, but they're 4-4.
They were 20th, somewhere around there in the KenPom yesterday. They've lost to Auburn. They've lost to
Kansas, Michigan State.
Michigan
Yeah,
State,
that's some pretty good
Alabama
losses
now.
they've got. Yeah, so I don't know.
We don't know how good they are.
I don't know if they're as bad as people are saying.
But I'm just saying, watching them for 40 minutes, I mean, their offense was really off last night. And a lot of that was R.J. Davis, 1 of 11 behind the arc, a veteran player.
Jaron Stevenson, though, on him.
Oh, great
had
defense.
This size advantage and quick feed helped out. But to your point, one of my biggest basketball wins at mybookie.ag so far was that Auburn, North Carolina game out in Maui. Going into that, I was like, this is stealing money. Auburn's going to beat the eyes off this team, and they did.
But, too, I want to credit Nate Oates, and this was asked in the mybookie.ag chat room. It's moving so fast by David. Watch those two teams. How many North Carolina guys start in Tuscaloosa?
I mean, R.J. Davis would.
Yep. The fact that you had to take a deep breath and hesitate, and now you're having to think, tells you all you need to know about what Nate Oates is doing at Alabama. You look at those two rosters, the North Carolina Tar Heels roster and the Alabama Crimson Tide roster, and it's not particularly close.
I think there's a chance that Jackson kid, Action Jackson or whatever they were calling him.
The kid off the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The kid
Ian
from the
Jackson.
Bronx.
Ian Jackson.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, I think it just shows you how good this Alabama offense is. What was the game where they scored 99 and Sears had single digits?
Yeah, I know.
Illinois game.
I mean, last night they had 6 players in double figures. This is their 4th consecutive game with at least 5 guys in double figures. Again, I didn't think offensively they played great. They still shot 49% on the road, and they still scored 94 points.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great luxury that you've got. If Alabama's even having kind of an off night, they can still score in the high 80s, low 90s.
And that was the first game after losing a starter, a significant starter, and 0 bump in the road.
Well, and actually, with the rotation freed up a little bit there, you saw at one point Phylon, who was really good, Holloway, who was really good, and Sears all on the floor at the same time. I loved that look last night. I loved what LeBaron Phylon did when he had the basketball.
I like the fact that
Holloway looked really good.
I mean,
Sears got off to a fast start. I thought that was important. 11 of the first 24 points was from Mark Sears.
I mean, I like the fact that Nate Oates looked at the situation and said, all right, maybe Houston Millett can contribute for us. I mean, that's going to be a big addition for Alabama. You loved him in the 2 Bama games we did, the way Millett played. And then his comments afterwards were fantastic. I don't know if you guys have seen his comments afterwards. When he was asked about it, he's like, now you're getting to play. And he's like, look, that's not how I wanted it to go down. I didn't want Latrell to have to get hurt for me to play.
Right.
And then they ask him about, wasn't redshirting better for you? He goes, the best thing for me is what's best for the team. And if this is best for the team, let's do it. That is the attitude you want to have.
Millett is a professional shooter, is what I would call him. I mean, he is just one of those guys that, man, you get these guys when you talk about, Phylon and you talk about Sears, you talk about Holloway, the way he's shooting right now, all on the court. I don't know how you defend it.
Yeah. And Holloway's speed with the basketball dribbling, he was able to slice through that defense and set things up really well.
And when he's shooting well like he was last night, he's got no conscience.
The good news for Auburn is they might be the best team in basketball. Because if they were struggling, it would be difficult to watch Holloway the way he is probably going to end up shaping up this year for Alabama.
That's right. If we weren't so good, we'd be missing him, but they're not missing him at all.
But Alabama's certainly happy to have him. I mean, he plays a ton, and he has contributed almost every night.
Yeah. If you watched Scott Van Pelt Sports Center afterwards, you saw the final question. SVP asked Jay Billis. So Kansas and Auburn lose, Duke. Those 3 teams obviously are 3 of the better teams in the country. If not those 3 teams, everyone else in the country, who is that 4th team in your opinion? And he did not hesitate. He said Alabama.
Yeah. I don't think there's much doubt that your 4 best teams in the country right now are those teams you're talking about. Auburn, Kansas, Duke, Alabama. Tennessee, you got to include Tennessee in that.
I think Tennessee's got to be in the mix.
Let me
Don't
back it up, Terry.
Forrester.
Let me back it up,
I will
Terry.
say that Alabama has a turnover problem.
They do.
And in that, when you get into these tight games, that becomes a problem.
A little sloppy with the basketball at times. And
that's what's crazy, though, is that you can be that sloppy and still score the way they score. I mean, to have 14 turnovers.
I know. That's the thing is, like, anytime you throw something out, like, they got a turnover problem. They still almost scored 100 in the Dean Dome.
Yep.
I mean, think about that for a second. But I mean, I guess that's a positive, right? You clean some of those things up, and you'll be darn near unbeatable.
When you watched that game last night, both Auburn and Alabama had a lot of fans that traveled up and got into the arenas there last night. North Carolina emptied out very early in the final 4 minutes, where a lot of Alabama fans very loudly in North Carolina with Roll Tide. It was picked up all over the television.
The Carolina fans started booing it initially, and then so many of them had left that eventually it's all you heard.
Look, the significance of the game completely different, but if you're an Alabama fan, would you rather go to like Chapel Hill to go to one of these games as a basketball fan, or would you rather go on the road if Alabama plays a first-round game in the college football playoff?
I've already had people saying, man, I hope it's South Bend. I want to go to South Bend. I want to go to South Bend.
It's a shithole.
Yeah,
That's what you've always said.
A lot of people want to go there. One more thing in this segment, Roman Harper in our next segment, Woodhouse Day Spa, bringing you part of our show today.
Yeah, the Woodhouse Day Spa wants to remind you, look, guys love to procrastinate. We wait till the last minute trying to decide that gift for the wife or girlfriend. The simple solution is the Woodhouse Day Spa. This Christmas, treat that special someone to the gift of luxury from Birmingham's best day spa, the Woodhouse Day Spa, located at the Summit Shopping Centers right off of Highway 280. Choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. The Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. You can order that special person gift online 24/7. Go to birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Gift card, simple solution. Buy them 24/7 online, or just stop by the Woodhouse Day Spa. Tell them the next round sent you.
Also, our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing, locally owned. It's Greg from Pell City. He and his wife Andrea own the company. It's been locally owned for over 2 decades. They give you that free inspection on the roof. You can't beat that. The word free is awesome with no obligation. 205-542-3531, the number on your screen, or just go to Facebook, Greg from Pell City on Facebook, and you can contact him there. That's his cell number. You can also call him up and set up that free inspection on your roof. He handles storm damage, roof replacements, insurance, roofing claims, and restorations. It's all right there. 8+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, Central Alabama's most trusted name in roofing. It's Greg from Pell City. Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531. We'll talk championship games, playoffs, and everything with Roman Harper next. We'll get to the recruiting later on, how that came out yesterday. Good signs for the SEC, obviously, with more talent coming in. But if I don't get to it now, we may not get to it at all through the show. And you've got a massive Thursday night NFL football game rolling tonight, 7:15 on Amazon. Packers 9-3 in Detroit to play the 11-1 Lions. And if you're not paying attention to the NFL standings, in that race for the best in the league, just in that division, you already have the Vikings, who are 10-2, the Eagles, who are 10-2, in a different division, trying for that home field advantage. Those are 4 cluster of teams right there. And you get Packers-Lions tonight in a marquee NFL matchup.
Yeah, I saw tonight, if the Lions were to lose to Green Bay, and the Lions are so beat up defensively right now, and Green Bay's playing really good football, if the Lions were to lose and the Eagles were to win on Sunday and they're playing Carolina as double-digit favorites, it goes from home field. Detroit would have a 45% chance to clinch home field. Philadelphia would have a 42% chance. With a win tonight, it goes up, I think, to 88%. Detroit will get home field, and that is massive. A guy like Jared Goff having to go to Philadelphia in that environment, probably bad conditions, night and day from playing in the friendly confines of Ford.
This blew me away. During the Bills-49ers game Sunday night, in the snow game, they showed a statistic for teams with the worst losing percentages and sub-freezing temperatures. Dolphins, of course, on there. You know who's number 1? The Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's just because they suck.
So they suck a lot of places, but, they play indoors, so I think they suck even more sometimes outside. Now, there went a couple of years ago in Green Bay that knocked Green Bay out of the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers' last game at Lambeau as a Packer. That was massive, obviously, and that was in sub-freezing. But I do think this is hugely important for the way the Lions play football, Lance. You've watched them this year. Lions in the Dome versus Lions in Elements, there is a noticeable difference in those games.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at games that they've played in Elements. They haven't played an Element game yet this year.
There was one, it wasn't necessarily an Element game. What was the road game where they scored 25 points?
It was, well, they played at Green Bay and won 24-14.
Yeah, that was a pretty yucky offensive performance.
But that was back in October.
Yeah. So, I mean, they want to be inside on that fast turf at Ford Field.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't blame them.
Who do you guys think is the better team right now, Detroit or Philadelphia?
Detroit.
I would say Detroit, but boy, Philadelphia against Baltimore was awful impressive. It is hard to ignore that last outcome. I
think it's Philadelphia. The way Vic Fangio has got this defense playing, I mean, they're playing at another level. Now, I probably trust Jared Goff a little more than I do Jalen Hurts. But outside of that, I do think the Detroit offense is just a little bit better. Yeah. But I think Philadelphia is the better team right now.
I just think Philly's offense has proven that when they get to the playoffs, it doesn't hold up.
They didn't have Saquon, and now they do.
That's a great point. That is a great point. Saquon is a game changer. By the way, to your point of how bad the Lions have been, if they win tonight, it'll be a 12-win season. In 2 years, they would have more 12-win seasons than they had the first 93 years of their existence.
I would almost say, and I could be wrong, they've won 10 straight. That's got to be maybe a record for Detroit.
It's got to be.
I think it is. I think I heard that in the Thanksgiving game.
Now, keep in mind, that's a little misleading. A lot of times it was a 14-game schedule in the NFL, and probably less than that back in the early days of the NFL. So haven't always been playing 16 and 17 games, but it is ironic they could go back-to-back 12-win seasons, and they've only had a 12-win season one time in 93 years.
Pretty unique, too, to get back-to-back Thursday games for Detroit. That does not happen to NFL teams very often, where they play on Thursdays back-to-back weeks.
I'm going to miss no college football tonight.
Yeah.
That returns tomorrow, though, with a lot of stuff. We'll talk college football. Roman Harper coming up on the other side. The show being brought to you by our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Tell us about the point spread tonight in Packers-Lions.
The Packers-Lions point spread has been around 3.5, and that's about where it is has stayed. It is currently Detroit favored 3.5 at home, a total of 51.5. Quick check on some of the college football playoff games or the conference championship games. Jack State, repping my Gamecocks today. They're back up to a 5-point favorite over Western Kentucky. UNLV and Boise a 4-point home favorite in that one on their home field in the conference championship game. Arizona State favored 2 over Iowa State. Texas favored 2.5 over Georgia. Oregon favored 3.5 over Penn State. And SMU a 2-point favorite over Clemson. You can play all those games I just mentioned right there at mybookie.ag. Don't forget to use code NEXTROUND when you sign on at mybookie.ag, and they give you a 300% bonus for use in the casino. You make your initial deposit, they bonus it 300% for you to use in the casino right there at mybookie.ag, plus 50 free spins. All of that when you use code NEXTROUND. Mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. Mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. Roman Harper is next.
Follow the Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
The holiday season is here, and this is the start of something fun. It's a season centered on when to shop, when to wrap, when to open presents. But at Academy Sports and Outdoors, it's all about where, because the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. Because however you shop, no matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price, in-store and online at academy.com. Academy, have fun out there.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trussville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Happy football season. At The Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, it's a fine art. New Life Art is proud to announce Daniel A. Moore's upcoming painting, Deuces Wild. This season, Bama is blessed with a pair of very talented deuces. The pair played a huge role on both sides of the ball in the Tide's amazing 41-34 victory over number 2 Georgia. Deuces Wild will portray the unbelievable game-winning 75-yard touchdown catch by deuce number 1, Ryan Williams, late in the fourth quarter. The Dogs' last chance drive was stopped by deuce number 2, Xavier Brown, as he made the game-saving interception in the end zone, which will be celebrated by a small artist's remark in the bottom margin of each print. Go to danielmooreart.com to see the artist's preliminary sketch and take advantage of special pre-publication pricing for Deuces Wild. Also available, The Legend, Daniel Moore's final tribute to Coach Nick Saban. Order now at danielmooreart.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
The holiday season is here, and this is the start of something fun. It's a season centered on when to shop, when to wrap, when to open presents. But at Academy Sports and Outdoors, it's all about where, because the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. Because however you shop, no matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price, in-store and online at academy.com. Academy, have fun out there.
Pete Thamel reporting that UAB tailback Lee Beebe is entering the transfer portal. He had 885 yards, 7 touchdowns, and then 219 receiving. And then, Forster, you told me, how many players did UAB end up signing on signing day yesterday?
I was told they only got 3.
Well, that's impossible.
Well, I mean,
right?
that's signing day. They've still got days to sign, okay, but you got a lot of work to do.
It still doesn't seem possible.
Yeah. They're going to be big in the second signing period, I believe, Joe.
Or the portal.
Portal. Yeah, well, they're already big in the portal. It's just going one way.
Did Trent Dilfer not get the vote of confidence in the year back yesterday?
Yeah, he did.
It's hard to recruit a lot from that vote of confidence right then.
Wow.
A lot going on. We will be in Atlanta coming up for the, at least part of the show will be in Atlanta for the SEC championship game. We're excited about Texas and Georgia, though I don't know how this is going to play out because both these teams are in. I don't know the excitement. We've had so many iconic SEC championship games because it was do or die between Alabama and Georgia and Alabama and Florida. I don't know what we're playing for.
Well, we'll see Harp over there. Roman Harper joins us now. He's on each week courtesy of mybookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at mybookie.ag to get that 300% deposit bonus.
He's about to grill me
in the casino. What is up, Harp? How are you today?
I can tell he's about to hit me like I'm a receiver crossing the middle.
Yes, you already know. Come on. You can't say that. Yep. There's just no way you think that is okay just because, the revenge factor for Texas is still up for play. Georgia, the respect factor in Georgia, and I don't understand. It's still something to be said about winning an SEC championship. That used to be the standard. Let's not try and deviate or move the goalpost like everybody else tries to do in college sports to try and make their team fit. So let's continue to stay focused on what our goals are. Every team's goals at the beginning of the season is to win an SEC championship and then go on to the playoffs. But you got to check that box first because that box at least gives you the first round out, right? You get a bye week if you do win this game. So it is things for you to play for.
There's importance. I saw it when I said, what were they even playing for? It was like I was trying to catch that.
No,
and I saw him
I agree.
Right into my chest.
I agree with Dunaway. Harp, it's not the same. It's not. I've got no desire to go over there this weekend. There's not even the hype. The only thing that I am pulling for, and I know you can't say it because you work for the network, is nobody wants Texas to win this thing in year one. Nobody does. Texas to come in and flex and to win 11 games in the regular season.
Angle. That's what we're playing for.
That is what we're playing for.
Old school SEC.
But you even heard Lane Kiffin say it on the podium, and Lane said some dumb things this year, but he had to hesitate whether or not you want to be in that game or you don't want to be in the game. There is a positive for winning the SEC championship, but it goes back to basketball now. People are only going to remember you getting into the college football playoff and what you do once you're there. There is something to getting that bye and maybe being the number one overall seed, but it is not close to what it used to be to win the SEC championship.
I just completely disagree with everything that you're saying. I don't understand how you're saying it just doesn't mean anything. That maybe it has been watered down because of the 12-team playoffs. Okay, I can understand where you're coming from. But Lane Kiffin, the only reason Lane Kiffin said that is because he couldn't get into the SEC championship game. That's why he said that. And all the other coaches sitting up there complaining about it too, including one coach that I actually do like, which is Brett Lashley out of SMU, talking about, if we lose, all right, will they be able to not be able to keep us in the playoffs? Well, how about you just go win the game? Stop focusing on everything that we can't control. Let's go back to the same football mentality and the same hungry mentality that got you to where you are, which is going out and winning football games and performing at the highest level. Everybody thinks SMU should beat Clemson, so go out there and beat them. You get to earn your right on the field. That is why I don't want to hear anybody complaining. If you're Ole Miss, all right, if you're Miami, I don't want to hear it because including Alabama, who some people didn't think they deserve to get in. I don't even know how I feel about it, okay? But I will say this. All these teams lost their way out of the playoffs. South Carolina is the only one that I actually listened to because they didn't get the chance. And they're the team that's been winning and on this big streak down the end of the season. But they didn't get the chance to actually go out there and prove it. So it's a little bit unfortunate. But if we're going to take head-to-head as a data point, you got to use it.
I would say this, Harp, is it is a little early to do what my esteemed colleagues have done here because we still don't know the value of this bye.
Thank you.
You may look back at the end and be like, boy, I tell you what was the key to us winning it all was getting the bye. We don't know how valuable that is yet.
Well, exactly. I know how valuable it is in the NFL when all of a sudden we got home field advantage and you get that first weekend off and you're waiting on the lowest ranked team to come into your place and then you get that win. You're just 2 wins away from a Super Bowl. You got to understand that. And so with the playoffs, with the bye, you're just 2 or 3 games away instead of playing 4. So with me, I think it's a huge difference. And if you can take advantage of that, you do that. And especially with the way the SEC is going to be ranked at the end of the day, when they win this game, whoever that team is, that is going to give them a big leg up on the situation because the team that probably loses this game is probably on the road somewhere. So you go from a bye with a great bid and a great seed to possibly on the road in a cold environment in the playoffs where nobody's ever seen this before.
So I had a Georgia fan come up to me last night and we were talking about the game and he's going over to it and we started talking about it and he was like, and we get in the middle of the conversation and he would just stop. He'd be like, I don't know. this season is so weird, and even these two teams that are playing Saturday have been inconsistent. Texas, the defense has been legitimate. Georgia's defense has taken steps back statistically. Both of these quarterbacks, their ceiling is huge, but both have been so inconsistent. This is a really difficult game. Texas, slight 2.5-point favorite, but how do you see this game playing out in the rematch?
I think that all depends on Texas's offense and what they decide they're going to do game plan wise. If you go back and watch the tape, which I have, Texas went out there and wanted to throw the ball all over the ballpark. Quinn Ewers did some things early, taking advantage of what Georgia was getting them. And then all of a sudden, Georgia started to smother them. Then next thing you know, they started taking away those little check downs, those early quick throws. Then next thing you know, Quinn Ewers is feeling rattled. Next thing you know, he can't get out of the way. He's fumbling the ball when he gets hit in the pocket. He's making some bad decisions with the football. And the next thing you know, he's starting to see ghosts. Now you got to take him out to let him get a breather. Hey, let's put in Arch for a second. Arch isn't ready. It's unfair to put him in this situation. He's not ready for this moment yet. And Georgia continues to pile on. But you also got to understand it. The mentality going into this game was different for Georgia. Georgia was like, all right, you said something about my mama. I'm about to punch you in the face. Texas on the other end was like, man, this is a great opportunity to have a good win at a nighttime right here in Austin. This is going to be fun tonight. And it was totally different game set and mindset. So it's going to come down to the mindset of both of these teams going into it. And does Texas try and run the football? That is what they've been successful doing offensively the last 3 weeks of the season. It's running the football with Jaden Blue and Quintravion Wisner. Both of those two running backs are really good. They understand how to get spacing. Wisner's a great finisher, downhill runner, knows how to run through arm tackles and gets extra yards. Jaden Blue, they use him and putting him on the edges, throwing it to him, swinging it out there to him. Using these running backs can really help you out. And we saw versus Georgia Tech how the run game can methodically start to wear down Georgia's defense. And then if you're able to use Arch Manning at certain situations by using his legs, involving him in the run game, but then also letting him throw it too, because you don't want them just to pile up in the box. But Georgia Tech had success doing all those things. So seeing it take a little bit of that, doing what Texas is doing offensively the last couple of weeks and implementing that game plan, I think that will be the determining factor for me. That will determine who wins this game. Texas game plan and also Carson Beck on the other side. He's doing a great job of taking care of the football the last 3 to 4 games. If he continues to do that, it's going to be hard for Texas to win that game.
I love Arch Manning playing the role of Tim Tebow to Chris Leak back in the day. That's starting to look really good. Which has surprised you most about this Texas team? How much the defense has improved filling the holes they lost, or how inconsistent the offense has been? Which has been more surprising?
I'd say surprising would be the offense. You think that Quinn Ewers in this offense would take that extra step. They really haven't. They've been very hit and miss. They're good at the little things that they do, but they're not great at a lot of things, right? So, but it's the defense has been so impressive, though. Texas's defense is why they're in the position they're in. Everybody loves talking about offense. Everybody loves talking about the quarterback and all that other stuff. But this defense is legit. They do all the little things right. They got ballers on all 3 levels. Colin Simmons is a young player up there on the defensive line, but then also the 2 interior D linemen for Texas are really, really good. Trey Moore, that's opposite of Colin Simmons, number 8, transfer from UTSA, was that conference's defensive player of the year just last year. Of course, you have, oh my gosh, the linebacker in the middle. I'm forgetting his name. He's so good. Anyways, I'll find his name in a second.
Is it Barron?
Barron's a safety.
No.
Oh, yeah, that's the safety.
He's number 0. Yeah. Sorry. Anthony Hill Jr. Yes. Apologize. He's such a good player. He's their best player, honestly. So he's another guy that's a huge difference maker in the middle. They got another couple other guys that fly around. And then the 2 safeties for me are extremely talented. They make plays. They're smart. Texas's secondary, they communicate better than anybody else I've seen all year long. And those are the reasons why they don't give up big plays. And then next you know, you got to go on a 10, 12-play drive to try and score on Texas. And they just don't allow people to do those things. So for me, Texas is where they are because of the defense.
Roman Harper, SEC Network. You'll see him working from Atlanta. You'll see him on SportsCenter as well. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Harper is presented each week by mybookie.ag, code next round, mybookie.ag, code next round, which currently gets you a 300% deposit bonus in the casino area. Alabama, if things work out, is in the college football playoff. I know they kind of are what they are at this point, but what did you see different from the Oklahoma game to the Auburn game that would encourage you if Alabama does, in fact, stay in this playoff field?
Oh, my gosh. Alabama's like 50-50, right? 50% of the time you're going to get the good Alabama, and then 50% of the time you're going to get the bad Alabama. And so it was frustrating for me as a fan because Alabama doesn't do the little things. And these are some of the same things I've been talking to you guys about all year long and sharing on your show. As far as you do some really good things offensively, you complete some really good throws that Jalen Milroe made, but you still have 4 turnovers. Like, you can't win with 4 turnovers if you're playing against a good team. Luckily, Hugh Freeze, I don't know what Hugh Freeze was thinking when he all of a sudden he calls the halfback pass when Auburn has the momentum, and they throw it right to Bray Hubbard, which another guy who I said, hey, guys, he's a good player. You don't have to worry about Keon Sabb being loud. Bray Hubbard's a good player. So thank you for me being the first person to tell you guys that one as well. And so, but defensively, they played better. They plugged some holes. They didn't just allow Jarquez Hunter to just run right down the teeth of the defense. And half of that was because Hugh Freeze didn't call more run plays. But you take what you can get. And I want them to continue to get better. They have to continue to rise to the moment. And at the end of the day, if the good Alabama shows up, they'll be fine. They can beat anybody. But it's also like the bad Alabama that continues to creep in sometimes. We just don't know when that time is going to be. And my only real big takeaway that was probably the most disappointing was when Devontae Smith got into the fight on the sidelines versus Auburn. And it wasn't because he got into a fight. Like, I don't care about that. Like, I like those type things. But where was that at last week versus Oklahoma? Why didn't somebody slap somebody last week when you guys were just taking the beat down and nobody was saying anything or doing anything? Those are the things that I want to see. The growth part of this team is that when you're getting beat down, somebody needs to do something to change the momentum and change the tide. Football is a momentum game. And when it's not on your side, you got to go out there and take it.
All right, he is Roman Harper. See him on the SEC Network and on ESPN this weekend. We'll see you in Atlanta, Hart, man. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. And I just want to know, like, is everybody mad that Alabama's in? Like, if it was anybody else, if it was anybody else, would they be mad? That's all I'm saying.
No, not at all.
Not at all. But okay. If we were Vince McMahon and we were hosting the Royal Rumble to entertain the crowd, would we not invite the villain? You want the villain in there, right? You got to invite the villain.
Oh, you have to. Okay. Yeah. I'm just wondering because I'm getting all this hate like it's me. I'm like, why is everybody mad at me? It's really just Alabama. Okay.
Well, I think it's 2 reasons, though. I think it is Alabama fatigue, and Alabama always does seem to get these breaks. But you said good Alabama, man, their ceiling is crazy. And if you get good Alabama for 3 or 4 consecutive weeks, watch out.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And then I think the ACC did Miami a disservice because all year long, I don't want to hear ACC fans complaining now, all right, because your teams are not in. Because all year long, all you did was complain about Miami, how good they weren't, how they're just scooting by all day, every game, and all of a sudden they lose the wrong game, and data points matter. So I appreciate it. That's all. I'm off my rant. I just want to hear from you guys what's going on.
No, I love Alabama being the villain. I don't ever want them to change the uniform, but I'm almost this close hoping they come out in all black.
Oh, thank you,
Appreciate it, fellas.
All right, buddy. Have a good weekend.
Right.
Roman Harper with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. MyBookie.ag, code next round. You sign on right there. You get a 300% deposit bonus to use in the casino area at mybookie.ag when you use code next round.
I know you guys are going over tonight to Atlanta, but when we used to travel as a team each and every year, it just seems so different. There was a special buzz about it. And I know for Texas fans there will be.
There will be. Let's talk more about what is at stake after we tell you about our friends at HydroLive. Tell us about HydroLive.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, now weight loss therapy, all under one roof. Very important when you go into one of the locations of HydroLive Therapy. Mention the next round, you're going to get 20% off all of those great services. If you're looking for a unique stocking stuffer, how about a gift card from our friends at HydroLive Therapy? 2 locations locally, Homewood, Highway 119 in Greystone. Walk-ins are welcome, but you can book an appointment online. Daniel Jones, our man, will be in studio with IVs next Tuesday for us. He can actually come to your home or business as well. HydrolifeTherapy.com. Mention the next round. Very important, 20% off all those great services.
And if you're an Alabama fan getting ready to head to South Bend, or if you're an Auburn fan wanting to celebrate one of the nation's best basketball teams, or an Alabama fan, same situation there. Or if you just want a great Christmas gift, the Pants Store is the place to go. Pants Store, those brick and mortar buildings in Leeds and Birmingham and Huntsville and near campus in Tuscaloosa and Auburn are there. But also anywhere that you watch or listen to us, you can order the Pants Store gear, pantstore.com, pantstore.com. It's your game day headquarters for all the Alabama and Auburn gear from Gentile, Antigua, Cutter and Buck, and Horn Legend. It's all right there, and great stuff for the ladies in your life as well. Free gift wrapping, free alterations. Nothing says Roll Tide and War Eagle like the Pants Store, pantstore.com. Obviously, like Tyler Booker said on our show back when Alabama was in the hunt for Atlanta, it means something to the players to be a champion. For those of us that aren't in the locker room, seeing the big picture, maybe we ask, what are we really playing for? Because we're so used when we're in Atlanta of it being do or die. You got to win this game to go to the 4-team playoffs or to the 2-team BCS.
It has felt bigger than the national championship game some years.
That's right.
Like we've all been to both in that same year, and you're like, the SEC felt bigger.
2012, 100%.
No
Alabama and Georgia played for the national championship that year.
Even 2009.
2009, it turns out, I mean, it was mighty Texas there, but it turned out Alabama and Florida played for the national championship that day. Those were the 2 best teams. I mean, and this may be the 2 best teams in the country.
Yeah, look, and both of these teams are the college football playoff, but when was the last time somebody that won this game was not in a 4-team or 2-team playoff? I mean, just go back through it. Alabama last year, Georgia, Alabama. I mean, I'll tell you what, I won't even go through all this skip and try to find.
I don't think it's happened.
The entire playoff system, since we've had this game, you have to go back to the BCS for the winner not to be there.
And then, even then, you got to go back a minute, don't you?
2002 Georgia.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
That was the last time, or 2004 Auburn actually.
Yeah, 2004 Auburn.
Yeah.
That's
so it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
that outcome, by the way, changed the way we do football because that's what brought the 14 playoff.
Well, and let's just you look at all of these years in 8 and 9. In 11, in 12, in 13, and I'm getting to a point here, in 17, in 18, in 19, in 20, in 21, in 22, in 23. Both teams would have been in.
Yeah. That's right. Both would have been in the playoffs
just
with
like
a 12
this year.
team. Yeah.
just like
so
this year.
It is different. Look, once those guys get out there, and Brown's right, we don't know what that bye means. So we will see probably after this playoff run, whoever makes a playoff run. But right now, it just seems, I don't want to call it empty. It's just a little less than it was before.
It is. We will talk about some more aftermath and some craziness of the still reacting to Alabama being where they are and what should happen to SMU. Charles Barkley is coming up at the top of the hour. We'll talk to Charles about the great basketball we saw last night with Alabama winning and Auburn becoming the signature win for Duke so far this season for that great recruiting class. The show being brought to you by our friends at Rodney Scott Barbecue. Time now to start thinking about the holidays where you can still get that spatchcock turkey.
Yeah, our friends at Rodney Scott's want to remind you, you can pre-order on the website right now, RodneyScottsBBQ.com. We will get another QR code up there for you that you can order for the holidays, throughout the holidays. Whether guests need a full holiday meal or just picking up sides and desserts, they have it all at Rodney Scott's Whole Hog Barbecue. James Beard, award-winning barbecue right there at Rodney Scott's for lunch or dinner. Get into one of those 2 great locations, the one we were at a couple of weeks weeks ago in Trussville, the one in downtown Homewood for lunch or dinner, some of the best ribs and wings you'll ever have. And again, they are ordering pre-order the holiday meals right now at RodneyScottsBBQ.com.
And our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. I'm back on the plan starting Monday. I was back there, so Brown will take us to great places to eat, and I'll have to make smart choices over in Atlanta this weekend.
Steak is all protein.
It's all protein. I got to go protein. Yep. I'm team protein now. Our friends at Way to Wellness there to help you out. No contracts, no sign-up fees. First consultation's free. Get more details at planforme.com. That first consultation, you'll find out maybe injection therapy is something you want. They've got that at Way to Wellness, and they will supervise you through the whole process with their board-certified medical professionals. Meal replacements, maybe a combination of both. It's all there for you. A planforme.com. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. It is unique over in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz. They're getting the field turf ready for the game. Here's a look at what that looks like yesterday inside.
It's going to look odd.
From Mercedes-Benz Stadium, It says, well, this is new. Texas and the Hook'em Horn on the field there.
It's going to look odd, no doubt.
It looks like a Peach Bowl, a Sugar Bowl.
That's right. It does not look like SEC championship.
It is different. And if you go back to Georgia football a few days ago, I retweeted it. Now, I think they were saying they had the time and the opponent and all that on there, and it said for the SEC, is all the tweet said, talking about going to the SEC championship game. I took that as Georgia football said, we're doing this for the SEC.
Yeah.
It is old school SEC versus Texas.
It's just vague enough you could play it either way, right? You could be like,
of course, Texas wants this. All you got to do is play these clips. I mean, Sarkisian said it as much.
No, Texas wants to be hated.
Oh, yeah. And Sark's like, everybody's doubted us coming into this league. We couldn't get it done in College Station on Saturday night. Our players, the coaches, they've all heard this all year. But, I mean, I just think it's a natural reaction from SEC fans to not want the newcomer just to roll in and dominate.
Yeah. I would imagine it's hard sometimes for Auburn fans to cheer for Georgia, Alabama fans to cheer for Georgia, but I think if you're old school SEC, you're all in on Georgia winning this game.
Well, just imagine. I'll use Emily Grace McWhorter as an example here. She's in Statesboro. She's grinded it out for all these years. She's set to become homecoming queen, and some chick transfers in from Georgia to Georgia Southern.
Yeah.
And then she ends up getting the bouquet.
Yeah, she gets Miss Congeniality.
You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, this is Texas. I'm not shocked they're in this situation because of how the season's played out.
But it would be, you could say Georgia will have the old, no, this is our conference, we run this conference, but you have to remember they didn't even win it last year. So it is kind of hard to have that argument. Well, this is our conference and we run it.
I was thinking, when was the moment where we had the shift and we came on, and it was when all Alabama fans disappeared from listening to Jocks forever because Clemson walked Alabama off the field. And at that moment, we were like, the power shift is in. Clemson is now the alpha of college football. If Texas wins the SEC championship and goes on and wins the national championship, it's going to sound crazy, but it's going to seem like the power shift might be Texas.
They're already the alpha in the conference.
Yeah. But I think the SEC would claim that title. That's just who we are. Hemphill brings you the lock of the day, lanceslock.com. Lanceslock.com. Getting you ready for another great night of NBA action this evening, unless you're a Lakers fan. And then, of course, the great NFL game.
So coming off a 7-1 in hoops last night, we were 8-3 the night before. Quick math, guys, that's 15-4 to start the week for you at lanceslock.com. We have a huge conference championship package coming up. We're going to release in a couple of hours. We'll give you more information on that, sending out emails, notifications on that. But jump on board and win with us. We are crushing it right now at lanceslock.com. It is always brought to you by our friends at Hemphill Services. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. If you have any of these issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. They were out. They had to fix my gas fireplace yesterday. They were in and out in 30 minutes. They always do fantastic work. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
The holiday season is here, and this is the start of something fun. It's a season centered on when to shop, when to wrap, when to open presents. But at Academy Sports and Outdoors, it's all about where, because the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. Because however you shop, no matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price, in-store and online at academy.com. Academy, have fun out there.
The beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by their professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their 2 locations today, in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
The holiday season is here, and this is the start of something fun. It's a season centered on when to shop, when to wrap, when to open presents. But at Academy Sports and Outdoors, it's all about where, because the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. Because however you shop, no matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price, in-store and online at academy.com. Academy, have fun out there.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Another hour of the show, we're about to talk to our buddy Charles Barkley. No correlation here, but as you get older, men, you need to stay on top of your health. And our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama, there to do that. 16 locations, one close to you in Alabama, treating all your urological needs from prostate health to kidney stones, even vasectomies. Visit urologycentersalabama.com to schedule your appointment.
Well read, Jimmy D, leading into Charles Barkley, our friend from TNT, soon to be ESPN. Will we still say TNT or do we say ESPN starting next year, Charles? How do we do that?
Great question. Hey, do you 3 have vasectomies, by the way?
I do.
I do not, Charles. Now I am done, but my wife took care of that part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I have no idea. I heard we got traded to ESPN, ABC, so I know there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and they're trying to figure that out. I wish I could give you a good answer, but I don't know the answer to it.
We do know their money spends, though,
That's
right?
It's green, Charles. It is green.
Other people got money too.
I would say this, though. If it ends up being that way and it's still produced in Atlanta like the reports suggest, that seems like the situation you were hoping for, because you always talked about the production people in Atlanta that have been part of that show for a long, long time.
Yeah, my biggest concern was the people in Atlanta keeping their job. Jim, I've been with these guys for 25 years. They're like my family. And, I got to admit, this was an eye-opening experience for me because I've been so lucky and blessed in my life, meeting with people who are talking about not having a job, who got a wife, got kids, got mortgages and things like that. It was so foreign to me because I've never had to worry about not being able to pay my bills. But it's been a real good learning, humbling experience for me because I'm like, oh, man, I'm with grown men who have got tears in their eyes talking about they're not going to be able to pay their bills and things. Now, so it's been a great learning experience for me. I will be honest with you.
All right, let's talk about some of the sports. And we know whatever you do, you're going to be successful. We don't care what we call you, just as long as we still call you. Charles Barkley with us. That was kind of a cheesy line there. That was more of a Dunaway line there, Charles. I am so sorry.
Oh, because it was bad. It was one of my lines.
Yeah, that's right.
We want to talk basketball with you, Charles. I'll save him here.
No, I got you.
I thought it was a signature win last night for Duke, beating Auburn, and that's saying a lot. It's a signature win for Duke that they beat Auburn last night.
Yeah, I watched the entire game. Auburn's got a better team than Duke. They didn't play great last night, in my opinion. They had too many turnovers. They didn't play with a lot of discipline. I think Bruce will clean that up. When you're watching that game, you're like, man, Auburn's really good. I knew that already after Maui. But because when they got down in the second half about double digits, I'm like, uh-oh, I want to see if they're going to crack. They didn't crack. That was a good loss. I know there's no such thing as moral victories, but there are when you actually paying attention. You're like, man, Auburn's really good, because that was a really tough environment. Duke was really ready. It was national television. Everybody was watching. So I thought it was a good loss. But when I was watching that game, I was saying to myself, man, Auburn's got a better team than Duke. That's what I got away from that game last night.
So, Chuck, Janai Broom he's Janai Broom. The guy gets better and better. The Maui.
He did not play good last night. He didn't play good last night.
I was going to ask you, though, at 6'10", there's a ton of 6'10" guys in the NBA. There's a reason he's back at Auburn this year, and that's good for Auburn. Moving forward next year, where do you see him, though? Do you think he plays in the NBA?
I think he's going to get a good opportunity. He didn't have a good game last night. He played great in Maui. I thought he made too many turnovers last night. There was like 3 crucial plays in that game where he got layups, and for some reason he wanted to try to take them off the dribble and end up kicking it out of bounds. So I thought that was huge. They couldn't stop him down low, but for some reason he's like, and be honest with you, Lance, I thought he was trying to prove like, I can play in the NBA. I can take guys off the dribble. That's not his strong suit. His strong suit is in the post, being physical, being aggressive. But I hope the kid makes it in the NBA because, it'd be great for Auburn. We've had some great success lately with guys coming out of Auburn. But he going to get an opportunity. That's all I can promise you, Lance.
I think the way Chad Baker-Mazara plays, 97% of the time it's so positive for Auburn, and it can really get under opponent's skin. And then there, not to bring up the Yale game, but last night, a little moment of that game there, as a guy who played the game, do you like the way he sort of gets under the opponent's skin, or do you wish he'd calm that down a little bit?
It's a combination of both, because anytime you play over on the edge, you're going to go over the edge. And it bit them in the ass against Yale. So you want guys like a Dennis Rodman or a Draymond, guys who are good players who play on the edge. The problem with playing on the edge, you always go over the edge. You just hope it's not at the wrong time. And It was wrong against Yale, and last night it was real close. It was real close last night. I thought there were a couple times, number one, the play out of bounds play, and also when he jumped into the non-fight. So when you have a guy like that, he's great for your team, but you have to be really careful, Jim, because that's the thing that sucks about the whole tournament. Like one mistake, the season's over. It's not like in the NBA where you can screw up one time and you still got to win 3 more games. It bit him against Yale, so he's great for our team, but Bruce has got to watch it, and he's going to have to really pay close attention because if you live on the edge, man, not just in sports, in life, if you live on the edge, it's just a matter of time before you go off the cliff.
Charles Barkley, the great, is with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline, and there is no doubt you're an Auburn fan, but you love this state as well, and you've always praised Alabama when they deserve to be praised. To watch 4.5 hours last night of those games, and they're there because of where Nate Oates has this program and Bruce Pearl has this program. As a state of Alabama guy that loves basketball, had to make you pretty proud.
Well, actually, last year really made me proud, to be honest with you, because Auburn and Alabama were both great. Bucky over at Sanford did a fabulous job Andy Kennedy at UAB. To have 4 teams from a state in March Madness is quite an accomplishment. That's not even a good accomplishment. If somebody had told you guys going back, we're going to have 4 teams from Alabama in March Madness, you'd be like, are you kidding me? We might get 1. We might get 2. We had 4 teams in March Madness last year. It was really cool for me to watch him during the tournament and to have to study tapes on them and things. But to get back to your question, Alabama and Auburn both are quality Final Four teams. Obviously, we got a long way to go, but they're both legitimate Final Four teams. I do think Auburn's the best team in the country. I do think that because they can beat you multiple ways. They can beat you big. They can beat you little. They can beat you with depth. And I've said this before. No coach in basketball makes more good in-the-game adjustment than Bruce Pearl. We're never going to get out-coached. He's a great X and O coach. If these kids listen to him, they got it all. I can't wait to see how this season's going to turn out.
For Alabama, they've got so many players, and unfortunately they're down Latrell Wrightsell for the rest of the year, but their rotation is so many parts. Bruce has always ran with a 9-10 person rotation. As you watched Alabama last night, is that something that Nate can lean into, having that many players? Or you've been on many teams. That dream team, for example, sharing the basketball isn't always easy. Do you like having that much depth in Tuscaloosa?
I do, because it's a long season, Jim, and injuries are going to happen. You just never know when. So you can't just toss guys out there and think like, okay, he didn't play in November, he didn't play in December. Somebody sprains an ankle. Let's put him out there now. No, you have to build your confidence and your camaraderie with your team. So you actually, what most coaches try to do, especially in NBA, you expand your roster during the regular season to get guys ready to play just in case. But when the playoffs really start, the rotation shrinks. That's when you should shrink your rotation. During the regular season, especially when you know you got a legitimate team that can go to the tournament, you should use your entire roster and rotation. But then when you get to just to make sure, just in case. And also you might find a diamond in the rough. You don't know who got better over the summer and things like that. But the main thing is you shorten your rotation, because in the tournament it's one and done and you're playing against better teams. So the more players you play, Jim, the better.
So, Chuck, on the surface, looks like a great recruiting signing class yesterday for Hugh Freeze. I'm sure your wallet's a little lighter. But the first couple of years have not been good. 5-11 in conference, 11-14 overall, 4 consecutive losing years for Auburn football. Where are you right now on Hugh Freeze?
Well, I always root for whoever's coaching Auburn. I've said that I've never badmouthed the Auburn coach. I'm really pulling hard for Coach Freeze. I think he's got a couple problems. I think number one, I was with one of my friends from Georgia last night. I'm like, there's 3 schools ahead of us already in the recruiting. And then there's 3 more SEC schools right behind us. So we're not going to get a big jump just from recruiting. But the biggest problem we got at Auburn is, man, we got to find a quarterback. And I don't think next year you could count on a freshman, even though I love the kid. I got a chance to meet him when I was down at the Oklahoma game. But I don't think we can go into the season thinking a freshman's going to come right out and we're going to be competitive with Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, schools like that. Because they already, Florida and Tennessee already got their quarterback. And I don't know about Georgia. I don't know about how things going to turn out in Tuscaloosa. But until you get your quarterback situation settled, you're not going to have a good college team or a good pro team. So I'm really pulling for Coach Freeze, but we're going to have the same issue. Like I say, we're not going to gain a lot recruiting because we're right. I think I saw the list. We're number 7. If I can remember. But 3 of the teams ahead of us already have better teams. But the teams right with us were like 7, 8, 9, and 10.
That's right.
Yeah. And 11.
And I'm like, so it looks good on paper, but those other teams recruited better or just as good. But the number one problem Coach Freeze got is, are we counting on that freshman next year to – I think that's too much pressure to put on a freshman, to be honest with you. So as much as I root for Coach Freeze, because I want Auburn to be successful, but, man, we're in the same boat. Unfortunately, I think we're in the same boat because we don't have a quarterback going into the next year.
Do you think Alabama gets in when it's all said and done? Like even if Clemson beats SMU, do you think they will drop SMU below Alabama?
You know, a couple of things I got to say about this. See, and we've had this conversation before. I hate strength of schedule. I hate that argument. Okay.
All right.
Why is it my fault your team sucks? That really drives me crazy. It's like people used to give Alabama a hard time. They're like, well, they didn't play anybody. I'm like, well, they played the team. First of all, these schedules are made out 10 years in advance. And now you have to add Oklahoma and Texas. So that's the only thing. You adding more good teams. But these schedules are made out 10 years in advance. So this notion that strength of schedule should matter, I have a problem with that. But I think Alabama's going to get in because of Alabama. And listen, we're in the money-making business on television. That's what we are. Now, because fans always think everything is rigged. It's not rigged, but we're trying to make money. And if I remember correctly, when I was looking at the brackets, Alabama against Notre Dame is a damn great game instead of SMU and Notre Dame. Like I say, I think I saw Alabama supposed to go to Notre Dame if the season ended like last week. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And some snowflakes there.
Yeah, and it's made for television. I mean, it's a money thing.
Yeah. That would be really good.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, that's going to be, because who should be really pissed is South Carolina, because they're playing as well as any team in the country, and they got 0 shot. And I'll tell you the truth, I'll leave Ohio State out. If you lose at home to a crappy Michigan team, your rival, at home, that's, I talked to you about the Auburn-Duke game. That was a good loss for Auburn. That's Ohio State losing at home to Michigan. That's one of the worst. As a 20, first of all, I'm pissed because I had Ohio State. Let's get that out the way. But to lose, like, rivalry games are tricky, but to lose a game where you're a 3-touchdown favorite, that's really, really bad. And like I say, if I was in that room, I'm like, man, I'm gonna tell you something. All losses are not created equal. Losing at home to Michigan as a 3-touchdown favorite, that's probably as bad a loss as you can get, to be honest with you.
I know you're not on TikTok, but did you see what Bryson DeChambeau did for a series there? He has a putting green in his backyard, and in front of his house, he'd go out there, and on the first day, he'd have one shot to chip it over his house and try to get a hole in one. He got 2 shots on day 2, day 3, and I think it went to day 15 before he finally got the hole in one.
And his house is all glass,
And
Charles.
his house is all glass. How many times do you think you could chip over a house before you got a hole in one? And what would be the bill on the glass?
Let me tell you something. I'd have to keep working till I was 75 or 80 on broken windows. Jim, I actually did. That's a really cool thing he was doing. You know what? I wish, was he doing it in a charity aspect?
I don't know. I think he was probably just doing it to build followers, which he's got a ton of those.
Because that would be a great charity thing. That would be like, I'm pretty sure he could get all his celebrity friends, and I consider Bryson a casual friend. If we would just put up a ton of money and raise some money for a good cause, that could be a really cool charity thing to do. But I would have a lot of broken windows if that was the case.
Yeah, I think here's the idea: we do it at charity, but Charles has to do it at Bryson's house with all the glass chucking to Bryce's driveway.
Hey, you know, I'm gonna see him next week because we're broadcasting the Bryson Brooks match against Scottie Scheffler and Rory McIlroy. I might bring that up to him because that would be a great charity thing to do. That would be a really cool charity thing.
Well, go ahead and pre-produce a tape. Go ahead and go out to his house and go ahead and get the cameras to record you taking a shot over his house and just blade one right in through the window.
Well, that's why we love you, Charles. We appreciate you coming on. You know we love you. And as always, thank you for the time.
Hey, man, I want to thank you guys for having me. Hope y'all doing great. Merry Christmas to everybody out there, and War Damn Eagle.
You bet. Merry Christmas to you, Charles. Thank you, buddy. We'll see you soon.
All right, brothers. Be safe.
All right, you too. Take care. Charles Barkley with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. It was about a year ago this week or so where he talks about charity a lot. He gave $100,000 right here on this show to our friends at Folds of Honor.
That's right.
Just an incredibly generous guy.
Yeah,
Charles
and there's so many different charities he gives to that nobody knows about.
That's right. That one just happened to be public, and it was for $100,000. And by the way, I will tell you, because it's easy to say that and not follow through. We can tell you, and Charles doesn't need us to say this, he 100% followed through. That wasn't just window dressing. Folds of Honor contacted us like, man, we got the check. It is incredible, man. This is changing people's lives.
Yeah,
so
we appreciate Charles so much, and we appreciate our friends at Johnston RV Center who bring us all of our guests on the hotline.
I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur is where you find Johnston RV Center, and you can always find them online at johnstonrvcenter.com. How about travel trailers? $145 a month. That's where those babies are starting right there. You can also get a fifth wheel, $45,000 or more in savings on those. And always RV warranty forever. Make sure you've got lifetime warranty on anything that is new or qualifying pre-owned when you go to Johnston RV Center. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, johnstonrvcenter.com.
So I'll let you guys guess. Something unique picked up from the New York Butcher Shop for dinner last night.
Lamb chop.
Jack and Jace came over to eat with us.
Lamb chop?
Smash burgers with Jack and Jace.
Meatballs, spaghetti and meatballs last night.
Yeah, I love
and
they
were fantastic. They're homemade meatballs. They come big container. I think it was like 15 of them, and with the marinara sauce. Put them in the pan. mix that thing up, then put some pasta on it. Fantastic stuff. Just one of the great things you can get from Jim and the fine folks at the New York Butcher Shop. But they want to remind you, Christmas holiday is coming up. You're going to have people over. You want to take some dishes to some of these Christmas parties. They have got absolutely everything from that Duroc pork rib, the certified Angus prime beef tenderloins, the A5 Japanese certified Wagyu fillets, other cuts. They've got it all. Great selection of fine wines, great desserts like the New York style cheesecake, key lime pies, famous banana breads. Get into one of those 2 locations. Don't forget about the huge deli sandwiches for lunch or dinner. Caba Heights, Highway 119, the New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well done service.
Brown, do you have a tradition today?
I do not, Jim.
I've got one.
Okay.
Just in case here. Actually, Forrester has it. And then I'm going to add a little tradition to it, okay?
Okay, well, what, you want me to set it up since you've got the tradition?
Well, we got the open, and you tell us about McCurry.
So each week we do a great college football tradition. Tyler, would you hit the open, please?
The College Football Spotlight.
College football's best traditions.
In the postseason, Jim gives her traditions, and it's always presented by McCurry. Rent from McCurry Van and Car Rental, local rental company you can depend on. All kinds of vehicles to choose from. That includes trucks, SUVs, passenger vans, easy to rent, in and out fast. Locations in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, and Coleman on 2nd Avenue Northwest. Also, Skyline Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Rent today, 256-559-1003. That's 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com. What you got for us today, Jimmy?
Well, Forrester actually showed me that SMU is actually letting their mascot, their live mascot, travel to the ACC championship game this week.
They got a pony?
They make the announcement Peruna is traveling this week with SMU to Charlotte.
Okay.
My little problem here is it's a Shetland pony.
It's not a Mustang?
If we're a Mustang, why do we have a Shetland pony as our mascot, Scott?
I actually thought that was kind of interesting too. That's a little horse.
And looking at that, I was just going to ask: are Mustangs smaller than I imagine?
I thought the same thing.
That's
first.
a Shetland pony, though. So.
I didn't know the actual helmet logo was to scale on the side. So it's a Shetland pony, but it's named Peruna. Now, here's the.
You don't ever take a miniature Stanley Cup anywhere, do you?
That's right. That's right. if they were the SMU Giants, they wouldn't have a little person that would roll around out there. They wouldn't let the Irish mascot roll around. Here's the tradition. Peruna is a weird name. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right.
How do you spell it?
Peruna.
Okay.
It actually comes from a patented medicine. That was the name of a patented medicine from back in the 1800s, early 1900s. It was an elixir that was 18% alcohol. Back when those people would go throughout the Texas dirt towns and they'd set up shop and they would sell to Aunt B and anybody in the Mayberry version of Texas.
Didn't make you well, just got you drunk and you felt better.
You had the flu, take some Peruna, and you would go to sleep. It's actually in their fight song. They took, Oh, Susanna, won't you done?
Oh, Peruna, won't you run for me? You're not a real Mustang, but no one else can see.
They'll all be, when they come around the corner, they'll all be high on Perunas. It's in the lyrics.
Is that what they say?
That looks like Billy Bob's kid with the bad teeth and Landman.
It does.
Yeah, I don't think his skinny ass couldn't get on that horse. He'd break it down with it.
No, I mean, but that shows you how unpowerful that horse is. That we just got some skinny frat boy that's manning it. We don't even need a real horse, a real horse trainer.
And by the way, Peruna, its biggest sales, when do you think it was?
During Prohibition, because there was nothing but alcohol.
Yeah. 18. Yeah, I'll take some Peruna.
It was probably a little higher alcohol content then.
Yeah.
That was like the grape drink.
Yeah.
So they've got the Elixir named mascot on the road, and it's a Shetland pony. That's your tradition, brought to you by our friends at McCurry.
McCurryRentals.com. McCurryRentals.com. I can see, you're about to get what I get sometimes. I'm really disappointed by that tradition, Jim. It's a great story, but I'm disappointed most they have a Shetland pony and not a Mustang. You did a wonderful job. I just don't like the fact that it's a Shetland pony.
Which is smaller in size than you think they should be? The wagon in Norman or the Mustang that's not a Mustang in Dallas?
I told the story. It was actually during the Bama-Oklahoma game. A buddy of mine was over watching it, and then he was like, Dunaway always dogs out that Boomer Schooner. I was like, listen, I got to tell you. He did dog it out, but in 2018, down on South Beach, they were doing College Game Day right behind our hotel in the Clevelander, and I walked out there, and it was there way smaller than you would think.
Yeah, but the Boomer Schooner is what it is. I mean, you're actually going out and getting a different type of horse.
Yeah, that's not even your mascot. You're not the SMU Shetlands.
They are on a budget, though, right? They're not getting any money from the ACC, so they don't have to feed it as much.
Cut somewhere.
And apparently those Boomer Schooners was the size of that they used back in the day.
If you tell me that.
Could they not get an actual Mustang horse from the same people that sold LSU their Tiger?
That is true. Tyler asked a great question.
Yeah, just for this one game.
A Tiger than a horse.
Yeah, Alabama fans do not want them to do that because that mascot provider is 0-1 this year in important games. And Alabama sort of needs SMU to win. That being said, what Rhett Lashley said on the Andy Staples podcast when we come back on the other side, I think this will floor you a little bit, LT, if you have not heard this yet. Coming up on the other side from the head coach at SMU. We'll talk about that. Roman hinted at it about an hour ago. Still to come, Dan Orlovsky on the big game tonight, Packers and Lions. Tell us about Michelson, and then we have to say goodbye to an SEC legend.
205-969-8100. That is the number you need to call. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. Do you or a family member need to make those benefit selection at work now? Do you know your FSA or flex spending can be used to help you see clearly without the hassle of glasses or contacts? Yes, a LASIK and Michelson Laser Vision might be a great choice for you. Book your free LASIK consultation today with Dr. Mark or Dr. Jen Michelson. Our man Alex last night at Behind the Bar at Odie said Jen Michelson is the absolute best. I have 20/20 vision now after suffering. Brown, you always see him in glasses, right? No more glasses.
Alex not wearing glasses? I won't recognize him.
And he said exactly what I said. It was like seeing HD TV for the first time.
I don't know if I'll recognize him without glasses.
Yeah, so just another example. If you wear the glasses or contacts, you owe it to yourself to make the phone call. Absolutely free consultation, 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
The SEC media has lost a legend in Bob Holt, who has passed away. This is the response from Arkansas about their feelings for him. His coworker, Tom Murphy, who covered Alabama for a while, has been with him for 17 years. He says, Bob Holt was like a brother to me, and I love him. They traveled to Arkansas games before Greg Sankey, SEC commissioner. Bob brought a smile to every conversation. We're sad to have lost him. Brownie, he actually passed. You were giving me details.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to say I did not know Bob all that well, but in the limited dealings I had with him, he was an incredibly nice guy, and that has been supported by what everyone is saying about him today, is that that's really what he was known for, is that he was just an incredibly nice guy. So, you know,
some of our viewers may recognize him from SEC media days. He's oftentimes the first question to the coach.
It kind of became a thing, and Bob has been doing it so long that everybody just kind of let Bob ask the first question. That was what he was known for. But he was really just known as a very nice guy. Apparently, according to the reports, Saturday in Columbia, they had been to the Arkansas postgame press conference, and they were making their way back to the press box, and he suffered what they now believe to be a heart attack, apparently lost consciousness there. Went to a hospital, the campus hospital or the university hospital there in Missouri, and unfortunately never got out and never regained consciousness. So tough way to go, but the guy did this job for a very long time. It seems trite to say, but you got to think, you know, he died doing what he really loved. He loved sports, and he loved Arkansas sports.
And you wonder how next year SEC Media Day is Nashville?
I believe that is correct, yes. No, Atlanta. I'm sorry.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
You wonder how they'll handle that.
You know, Greg Sankey, I don't know how you do this, but Greg Sankey said in his tweet today, I think next year at Media Days, the first question needs to go unasked. We'll honor him some way when the first question would have been asked, because it would have been
but I don't know how you do
because something becomes
question.
The first question.
Yeah.
So I think when the first question would normally take place is when they will honor Bob Holt, and he deserves that.
Yeah, with a moment of silence.
Yeah,
instead
like
of
that.
A first question, we're going to leave here for a 10-second moment of silence for Bob Holt, who passes away after a long, long time covering Arkansas and the SEC. Our thoughts and prayers to everybody who is friends with him, worked with him, and his family members. We're back in a moment right here on The Next Round.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at ryanbrownlive.
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, it's a fine art. New Life Art is proud to announce Daniel A. Moore's upcoming painting, Deuces Wild. This season, Bama is blessed with a pair of very talented deuces. The pair played a huge role on both sides of the ball in the Tide's amazing 41-34 victory over number 2 Georgia. Deuces Wild will portray the unbelievable game-winning 75-yard touchdown catch by deuce number 1, Ryan Williams, late in the fourth quarter. The Dogs' last chance drive was stopped by deuce number 2, Xavier Brown, as he made the game-saving interception in the end zone, which will be celebrated by a small artist's remark in the bottom margin of each print. Go to danielmooreart.com to see the artist's preliminary sketch and take advantage of special pre-publication pricing for Deuces Wild. Also available, The Legend, Daniel Moore's final tribute to Coach Nick Saban. Order now at danielmooreart.com.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It is the will to prepare to win." Hi, I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryant Bank, and I can tell you that our Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that is right for you. At Bryant Bank, we specialize in community banking and offer personal and business loans, checking and savings account, mobile banking, and treasury management services. Stop by one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama to find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about.
Hey, you. It's the holidays. Give cheer a lift. And at New Balance Birmingham, we got the gift. That holiday vibe? Find it inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trustville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy, have fun out there.
Here at the Next Round, we love our guests, especially our 2024 football regulars. Auburn and Alabama fans, we've got your guys. On Mondays at 9:25, we'll be joined by Alabama offensive lineman Tyler Booker, and Tuesdays at 9:25, we chat with Auburn quarterback Peyton Thorne. Join us and rep your team.
Back with you on the Next Round. Tyler has our 4 downs coming up a little bit later on in this segment. Dan Orlovsky on a huge weekend in the NFL coming up. Week 14 already in the NFL?
That is correct. That is hard to believe, is it not?
Yeah, it's flying by.
Yes.
Show being brought to you in part by our friends at CPAP. Tell us about CPAP.
Yeah, CPAP Plus, the O'Neill brothers, Woody and Joe, they are CPAP users themselves. So when you come into one of their great locations, they know exactly what it is like and what you are looking for. If you're looking for the best CPAP gear with personal service you can trust, visit CPAP Plus, 3 convenient locations, Pelham, Highway 280, Trustful. For the next round viewer and listener, $20 credit towards the purchase of a new mask system, CPAP cleaner, or even travel CPAP machine. Stop by CPAP Plus, where you're going to find the best service and equipment, all in stock, ready for you. Hundreds of 5-star Google reviews. Trust CPAP Plus for all of your CPAP needs. CPAP Plus, where every night matters.
All right, Rhett Lashley is the head coach of SMU. His team is playing for the ACC championship this weekend. I think they're comfortably in the playoff, win or lose. Maybe comfortably is not the way to go, but I think
an overstatement.
I think they make the playoffs, win or lose. If they lose, I think Alabama's out, right or wrong. And if they win, I think Alabama's in. These two guys believe there's a chance that Alabama's in regardless, and SMU would fall out.
And the reason I say not comfortably is I know how this is going to go down. If they lose the game, that is going to be the focus of the show. Who's ranked higher, SMU or Alabama? And it's going to be one of those where, all right, here we go.
Comfortable is a bad word.
No. I'm not getting on you. I'm just saying that's the way the show's going to go. All right, let's unveil it. Here's who's number 11, and there'll be the pregnant pause for drama.
Okay, it's
SMU.
So what is your seesaw percentage that we used to do? If SMU loses to Clemson, what do you think seesaw percentage that SMU is in?
I have to see how the game goes.
Yeah,
but if it's less than 2 touchdowns, I would say SMU is in, for me, 75%.
Wow.
Well, I'd go the other way. I'd go Bama 75% regardless.
I would too. Unless, I mean, back to what you said, if it is a classic ACC championship and it's back and forth and Clemson wins it late, then maybe it does flip to 75%. But I think if Clemson wins this game by a touchdown plus, I think it's 75% Bama.
I think Warren Manuel and them would look at it would look at them as a one-loss team because of rewarding. It's a reward to play in this game. Rhett Lashley believes that too. Now, he takes a weird approach at explaining that he thinks they should be in regardless on the Andy Staples podcast from our friends at On3. Listen in.
If the worst happens this year, do you think coaches will start to consider doing crazy things like not playing or benching players or doing things?
If our team all got COVID today and didn't play, we're in.
Wow.
We're in, right? We don't have another data point to drop us below anybody that's behind us.
Based on what happened in 2020, that's how it would go. Yeah.
I think if you open up that door, you're going to see a lot of people do a lot of crazy things. Yes, we're not going to. We're going to go play in Charlotte, and we're going to try to compete for our championship because that's the right thing to do. That's what competitors do. We value an opportunity to share the field with someone like Clemson, a fantastic team, and try to do something special. And so I just, like I said, I'm going to choose to believe that on Sunday that the right thing will be done as well on the other end.
On 3 Sports, Andy Staples.
We said it earlier this week. Look, if they're left out, if a team is left out after playing in the conference championship, we believe that teams and programs and coaches will do dramatic things.
This is one of those where Rhett's answer, if given without context, is going to sound super odd, right? But, I mean, Ari Wasserman point blank asked him, do you think you'll see teams do this? And he's just using an example. I mean, yeah, if our whole team got COVID and didn't play, we're in.
But what if they did get COVID?
Then he goes and says, but we're not going to do that. We're going to go play the game. But to answer your question, Ari, yeah, I think people will, if we play, we get left out, people will start to do crazy things to try to miss these games.
Let me ask you this. Jennings, their quarterback. What if
9-0 is the starting quarterback?
9-0 is the starting quarterback. What if he came out today and said, in our Wednesday practice, he tweaked a hamstring, and we think it's for the player's safety that he rest for 2 weeks, and he's ready to go in the first round of the playoffs. We're going to rest him for the ACC championship.
Too bad, too sad. That wouldn't matter at all.
I mean, if you don't play him and get left out, what an idiot you feel like.
Yeah, but that's the kind of things I think Ari was hinting at, is that they may start trying to manipulate the roster. I mean, the hardest thing to prove is COVID, right?
I mean, it's been the great excuse to not go to work since 2020.
Yeah,
right?
I can't even imagine how many people have used it, because somebody called in here, we'd be like, "Hey, man, take
stay
your time.
home. No problem. Yeah, take the rest of the week.
Yeah, I don't know how this is going to work, because even if it got so drastic as teams saying, you know what, we're going to pass. Like, there's teams that pass on the NIT in basketball. Completely different, I know, but we've never. These are uncharted waters. But if you had teams saying, we choose not to play in the ACC championship.
I just wonder what the conferences would do. I mean, what recourse do they have? Legitimately, if Steve Sarkisian had said, huge win here tonight against the Aggies, it was so good to have this rivalry back. Yeah, I'm going to call Greg as soon as I'm off the podium here and tell him we really don't want to go to Atlanta.
We value the rest more than we do the championship.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what the conference would do at that point.
There's got to be something in the bylaws that says you have to play.
Yeah, Greg's like, you may want to get, who's their AD now? Is it DeLoss Dodds? Used to be DeLoss Dodds. Can't remember who it is now.
Del Conte.
Yeah, you may want to get Chris to read that piece of paper y'all signed coming into the conference. Yeah. You'll be thinking differently in about half an hour from now.
Do you want any of our money?
That's right.
Because you're going to play in that championship game.
Yeah.
It is. It's fascinating. But again, I mean, it comes down to a lot of different things.
SMU is the only one that's in this spot, though, because the SEC and the Big Ten, winner or loser, they're both in, right? The Big 12's playing winner gets in, losers out regardless. Same with the Mountain West. SMU is the only one that's in this situation.
And I am telling you that Clemson is going to win this game, because we're going to get chaos. And it's going to come down to a Sunday morning, and there's going to be these kind of debates. And I don't know if you guys have noticed this. Kalen DeBoer is all over the place. He did McAfee. He did our friend Ian Fitzsimmons, his show on Monday night. He's doing all of these shows. I mean, they're all out there, and they're all campaigning in different ways to make sure their team is in. And it really does come down to those two teams.
Well, now he doesn't have to campaign against Shane Beamer and Lane Kiffin. I mean, he's the only campaigner right now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Rhett could campaign a little bit, like just in case of a loss. But
yeah, I mean, Shane and Lane, they can campaign, and it just sounds like sour grapes at this point. Can you imagine back when we had Rhett Lashley on the show in July, August, early August? If I'd have said, you know what? Kalen DeBoer's first year, it's going to come down to him and DeBoer for that final playoff spot. And it's going to be controversial.
You know what he would have said?
We'll take it.
Where do I sign?
Yeah, we'll take it.
But we would have all laughed our asses off.
We would have.
Yeah, we'll be debating you not really wanting to play in the ACC championship game to stay ahead of Alabama in the rankings. He'd be like, okay, this is going to be a good year.
Already?
Yeah, especially if we told him that after week 1 against Nevada or week 0 against Nevada when he barely won the game. If this team turns it around, I'll take that. Dr. B gives you these college football headlines that we have for you. Tell us about Dr. B, LT.
Yeah, our man Dr. B, when it comes to the regrowth of hair, to maintaining what you've got, he is the guy you need to call. Reach out to him. I did it years ago. My hair is more than doubled in thickness. I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. That is it for more than 20 years. Women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training and genetic testing, to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B today, 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
Did Auburn's future quarterback hit the portal yesterday? According to reports, a portal's not official until Monday, December 9th. Jackson Arnold hit the portal yesterday, former 5-star quarterback, 2 years of eligibility left. Is Jackson Arnold more of a quarterback you'd want to build your future on or not right now?
Oh, I think Jackson Arnold could be really, really good in Hugh Freeze's system. I think Jackson Arnold is going to be a really, really good quarterback. I think he's going to be one of the better quarterbacks in college football over the next couple of years, and he does have 2 years remaining in eligibility. But if you're Jackson Arnold, you already went from an average program. Do you really want to go to Auburn right now? Like, if I'm Jackson Arnold, I want to go to a place that is ready to win now.
With those receivers, I mean, that's some parts around you that, you had receivers at Oklahoma. They were just on the IR. Every week, 5-6 of them.
I know, yeah. Almost every week.
It just depends. Like, I think money's going to be relatively the same for Jackson Arnold where he goes. He's probably a $1 to $2 million quarterback where the valuation is going right now. You guys give me some other schools that are going to need quarterbacks next year.
According to On3's
if LSU came to you, if you had the chance of LSU or Auburn, where are you going?
Well, according to On3's Pete Nakos, who covers the portal, the 3 teams to watch are Georgia, Auburn, and Mississippi State. Now, in case you're wondering about State, Jeff Levy's the coach there. That was his offensive coordinator at Oklahoma. So
And
it'd be
his
reuniting those two.
Primary recruiter, too, I think.
Probably so. To answer your question, Lance, what did you ask me about LSU?
I said if you had the opportunity, if you're Jackson Arnold, money's the same, LSU or Auburn. I don't even know why you're thinking.
I mean, what was LSU this year? They're 8-4.
I mean, Auburn's had 4 consecutive losing years.
Well, they have.
LSU was 10 wins both seasons before.
Well, they were, but they were 8-4 last year with a pretty good quarterback.
8-4 is a lot better than 5-7.
It is, but I think you look at Auburn and you say, how big a difference was Auburn and LSU? That's not that big a difference this year.
But the program difference has been tremendously different over the last decade.
It has been. It has been.
And you've got what is, I know people have soured on him, but he is still viewed as one of the top 10 coaches in college football.
Yeah. I mean, LSU has had a lot of flaws over the last couple of years. Auburn has had more. I mean, if those are my two, I'd probably go LSU, but I'm not saying it's a slam dunk.
Very interesting to see Jackson Arnold. I had not seen those 3 teams to watch, Brownie. I just brought Auburn up just off the top of my head, but there you go. Georgia, Auburn, Mississippi State, something to keep an eye on. 4 Downs every day, brought to you by our friends at Slice. Tyler has them for us on Thursday. Tell us about Slice.
5 locations. And how about if you had a guy like Lincoln Riley who said he's staying at USC, he wants to go nowhere, going back and poaching a quarterback from his old program.
It would be really good.
How about he said he's staying at USC instead of Central Florida? That was the report. I'm like, holy
No,
crap.
The Athletic says UCF really did ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, why would you not? Again, shoot high.
Yeah. I mean, you got to shoot your shot.
Right. 5 locations. The original in Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park. Newest location right there in Edgewood. Get in, see the Bajaya Brothers. Get a slice and a salad today. Pick up a couple of pies on your way home. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Name a popular musician that you just don't understand the appeal of.
Bob Dylan.
Good songwriter, but awful voice.
But you know what good songwriters normally do? They write songs for people that can sing. You know what Bob Dylan can't do?
He can't sing.
He can't sing. So I don't understand the appeal to Bob Dylan. Like, I'm not a lyrics guy. I don't just sit and like, man, that was a good lyric by that guy that sounds like somebody's killing a fox in my backyard. That's a great lyric, though.
Yeah, never a Bob Dylan fan. I'll go Jimmy Buffett just because of the mass just fortune that he built and the brand that he built. Good for him, but I never understood it.
I think Bob Dylan's a good one. I've always thought Frank Sinatra was right place, right time. I don't think Sinatra was that fantastic of a singer, and I bet he didn't write his own songs like Dylan.
Ooh. I know he covered some old Italian songs, and those were his big hits.
Yeah.
But we actually had this question on the Meltdown yesterday. I can feel Tim staring at me from
another one. Yeah, what were the answers?
I gave the answer Taylor Swift because she's just kind of basic to me.
Yeah.
She might be a great performer, but there's nothing really unique about her style of music.
I would definitely say first half of her career, you would not be wrong. LT would tell you the second half of her career, her shows, her concerts.
Yeah, I would say that she puts on a great show. Her music does absolutely, I mean, like, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of people that can do what she does musically, but she does put on a great show.
Yeah, but she would probably fall in where Frank Sinatra is for me, for a lot of people. Who did Melton say?
My opinion is Carrie Underwood. Wow. I cannot stand to listen to Carrie Underwood, and I don't know what it is, and I'm in the minority.
No, you're not.
I don't think anybody likes to listen to her. I think people like to look at her. If she didn't look like that, nobody would.
Oh, you're out of your mind. The girl,
I mean, first of all, she wouldn't have won American Idol. She'd be back in Oklahoma skating at Sonic.
She's an incredible 100%. Singer. No, she's an incredible singer. I mean, she may not have won American Idol, but you can't diminish her voice. Her voice is incredible.
I think she is an incredible singer, Brown. Her songs in the back half of her career here have not been anything like the first half of her career, in my opinion.
Her most notable song is the Sunday Night Football theme.
And then the Before He Cheats song, because every chick tries to pull it off at karaoke. But without her look, she doesn't win American Idol, and again, she's skating at Sonic.
She has the legs for it, though.
She does.
She's got the legs, yes.
Second down.
The movie Good Will Hunting turns 27 today. What's the best Robin Williams performance?
I've actually never seen Good Will Hunting, so I can't include that.
Out.
Yeah. Huh?
So all these years when I've said to you, how do you like them apples?
He has no idea what you're talking about.
That's an old saying. I mean, they didn't invent that in that movie.
It pretty much became popularized in that movie.
Brown, did you live in the 90s?
and he told me he saw Silence of the Lambs and didn't like it.
Yeah, I said it was okay. Yeah, it didn't do a ton for me.
Good Will Hunting, very, very good film, especially when it came out back in '97, I think it was. You can make an argument. The Fisher King, he was really good. Good Morning Vietnam. He was a hell of an actor just because he was so comfortable in front of the camera.
Dead Poets Society?
Yeah, I mean, a little cheesy, but he was good in that. Yeah.
I would go
1 hour photo.
1 hour photo played a great creep.
I would go Good Morning Vietnam for me.
Best of Times. Couldn't get over dropping that pass.
Have you guys ever seen Patch Adams?
Yes.
I actually liked him in Patch Adams. I thought he was good in that. Yeah. Some people are saying, and this is probably going to get destroyed here, but Hook, when he played...
Oh, I like him.
Yeah, I thought he and Dustin Hoffman I thought were very good in the movie.
Never saw Hook or Patch Adams.
Yeah. Death to Smoochie is an underrated one with Robin Williams as well.
Skip Man of the Year, though, when he runs for president.
Yeah, not a good one.
Oh, my gosh. False marketing, for sure.
Did not see that one.
Third down.
Walt Disney would have turned 123 years old today if he were still here. What's your favorite Disney movie?
Did the Pixar movies count?
Yeah, I'll count Pixar.
I will say Finding Nemo just because I watched it 1,000 times with Layton, and I thought it was really good, the first one.
Yeah. I mean, Toy Story is hard to beat.
Toy Story's good.
Yeah, from the Pixar collection.
I would go Toy Story from the Pixar collection. Is that also Up?
Up is Pixar, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a heartbreaking opening scene in that one.
Yep.
But for me, you guys, is so foreign to all of you, including these guys, and they're older than you guys. But we would, when I was in elementary school, 3rd grade, we would bring a quarter to get out of class, maybe sometimes 50 cents, and we would go once a month for a fundraiser for the school into the old gymnasium, and they would show a Disney film in there. We'd miss a class of school to go watch that in the gymnasium.
Like Return to Witch Mountain?
No, it was one of them that I was going to bring it up was, and I loved it then, but I don't understand why now. Herbie the Love Bug.
I didn't like those.
Oh, it was asinine looking back, but as a 3rd grader, it was fantastic.
They ended up bringing that one back with Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, and Michael Keaton. Let's not forget that.
And Matt Dillon.
Yeah.
Old Yella, wasn't that a Disney film?
Yep.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. Not a happy ending, but good film.
Boy, if you would have the old guy in Up have that opening scene and then he shoots the dog at the end, that's a classic movie right there. He gets so mad that his wife died in the opening scene. If he shoots old Yeller at the end, and somewhere along the way hunts for Bambi in the middle, you've got a cinematic classic right there.
Well, wouldn't you say 2 out of 3 Disney films? I mean, back to Finding Nemo. I mean, one of the characters dies in the very beginning.
No, they've all got a sad thing. Yeah.
Is that how you teach your kids about death?
We used to skip when Coral would get taken out by the Barracuda.
Yeah, it's a tough scene. Yeah.
I didn't like the shark, Bruce.
Yeah,
he's a little much.
I'm with you.
Scary for me.
4th down.
All right, back to Walt Disney. Who had the better career, Walt Disney or Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's? Both created global billion-dollar enterprises.
I would say Disney is recession-proof. I guess McDonald's is too.
Yeah, and I think McDonald's is more like, I know the movies are there, and we had Euro Disney for a little bit, but McDonald's are in every corner of the world. It's tight. Boy, I'd like to be on that family tree.
Yeah,
part of the 23andMe.
Either one.
I'm going to say Disney over Ray Kroc and McDonald's.
I'm going to go McDonald's, but it's close.
Just on the creative side.
Yeah. Here's how I would say it. The world comes to Disney. McDonald's had to go to the world. So I think Disney is more successful. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's really good.
You know, I mean, the world is going to McDonald's.
Yeah,
too.
but they had to go to the world to get them to come to McDonald's. Disney just built in Orlando, and the whole world's like, we're going to Orlando. That's my point.
The biggest McDonald's is in Orlando.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's on International Drive. They've got a bowling alley and an arcade.
Well, that's all we need, more traffic in Orlando.
I didn't know that either. They got a bowling alley.
Yep.
Hey, good 4 downs, Tyler.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's brought to you by Slice.
5 locations get in for lunch or dinner. Created by the late Jeff Bajaya. His brothers Chris, Jason continue to celebrate his legacy. Fantastic pizza. From the hot mama to the soul pie to the wing and a prayer. You're going to love it. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
We could know before the weekend's up where Juan Soto ends up going. $600 million plus is every offer he has of the teams he's considering, and it may even get to Shohei's $700 million. Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, Red Sox, Blue Jays are the teams that have offered that much for Juan Soto.
It always starts Dodgers, Yankees. That's the given. Anytime we're talking about $600 plus million, Dodgers, Yankees.
By the way, remember the name Munetaka Mukami.
I won't, but why?
50%, I got that right.
Eminem.
He is 24 years old, and he has told the Japanese professional league, this is my last year here. You got to give him a warning. And he's coming to the United States after this as a 25-year-old. He is the fastest person in Japanese professional baseball, their top league, to get to 200 home runs, faster than Ohtani, faster than O'Hara. He's got 224 in 836 games, 600 RBIs, and he's supposed to be the next great Japanese hitter to come over here.
So roughly 1 in every 10 at-bats, it sounds like. That's
yep. Or as you would say, spring training for the Dodgers.
Maybe.
Because they would love to come play there.
That's going to be the appeal, Seattle or L.A.
Yep. So that's some baseball for you there before we get to the winter months here, and then it flips around to spring training very soon. Dan Orlovsky coming up on the other side. The show being brought to you today by our friends at Gray's Tree Service. They've been to both of these guys' yards in the last month.
We actually had lunch at our friends at Buffalo Wild Wings yesterday, picking up our Pick 3 prize for our overall winner. When are we announcing that this week?
We can announce that tomorrow if you guys want.
Yeah, so one of the side streets, I saw that there was a little construction there, and I saw the Gray's tree trucks out there, right up there by Target, cutting down some of the big trees. So, not only do we use them residentially, but there's a lot of commercial businesses that use these guys. They are the experts in high-risk tree removals, pruning, soil health treatment to strengthen those trees and plants. Family-owned and operated for over 25 years right here in Birmingham. Call 205-281-6100. Scan that QR code or visit graystree.com.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at jimdunaway.
Hey, you. It's the holidays. Give cheer a lift. And at New Balance Birmingham, we got the gift. That holiday vibe? Find it inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Bright Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. The beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by their professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their 2 locations today in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness. From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy, have fun out there.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios. The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Dan Orlovsky will be with us in just a second. Can you give me cut 2, Tyler, real quick before Dan hops up here? Hugh Freeze yesterday after National Signing Day gives us this comment about what Auburn was able to do. According to On3, Texas, Alabama, Oregon, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Auburn at number 7. Here's Hugh Freeze.
It's impossible to do what we want to do and not have these classes. I just think it'd be impossible. And that's the way I feel. I've said I want to build it primarily through the high school ranks. That's had to be rethought a little bit, but not as much as I thought. We were able to hold on to some really, really dang good players. And but to get where we want to get, you have to have similar recruiting classes to the elite. And again, I've never said that you can't win a game here and there, but to be consistent in running off the table and winning 9 and 10 games in this league, you have to have a roster that's made up of some top 10 recruiting classes, I believe. And you were 2 for 2 in that after today, and that was a necessary step for us to get where we want to go.
Charles Barkley mentioned that earlier when he was on the show, that the SEC, 8 of the top 11 in the nation, that includes Auburn, Texas at 1, Alabama at 2, Georgia 4, Auburn 7, and then LSU 8, A&M 9, Tennessee 10, Florida 11. Big move from Florida over the last few days.
It is, but it's what we always talk about. You can be top 10 in recruiting and be mid-tier in the SEC. Now, what is the difference between class number 10 and, say, class number 3 or 4? I don't know. It's that huge of a difference? Especially now in this world. Like, I mean, Luganville said the estimates are right now, I think, 60% of your signing class. I can't remember. What did he say? 60% will stay on average, or 60% will be in the portal?
60% will be in the portal.
In the portal. That's the national average right now. Now, that's probably going to be skewed a little lower for your top-tier teams. So
yeah, and here's where things get kind of tricky. Like, if you look in the top 10 right now of the college football playoff rankings, you've got Boise, you've got Indiana, you've got SMU. They're not brands, but I think those are places that you can get some of these 4- and 5-star guys that will transfer out to those places where they can ultimately play.
Yeah. All right, let's get in the car with Dan Orlovsky. He joins us this time each week, talk a little NFL. Welcome in, Dan. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic. Thanks a lot. Dan with us, courtesy of mybookie.ag. Code next round to get that 300% deposit to use in the casino. 300% deposit bonus for use of the casino right there. Massive game tonight. We are now starting to get these games where home field comes into play for the NFL playoffs, not the college playoffs, the NFL playoffs. And that is the case for Detroit. You know, I saw the stat. I know Detroit has had some tough years. I was stunned during the Sunday night game to see how bad they have been in the elements over the years, Dan. So home field becomes even more critical if you've got that kind of record in cold weather.
Well, I mean, every team wants home field, right? I mean, every team wants the 1 seed. Every team wants that first round bye. Every team wants you to have to go through their building. I do think that Detroit is more capable than they have been in the past of having to go into the elements or on the road. You know, they're the only team in the NFL who hasn't lost on the road this year. Since last year, they're 12-3 on the road. That's the best record in the NFL. Jared's QBR on the road is actually better than it is at home. And he's having MVP-worthy type of season. So, yes, there is the reality, but I don't think this is like, oh, if the Dolphins have to go on the road, they got no shot type of thing. So, I think it'd be awesome for the city of Detroit. I do think it's a bigger game tonight for Green Bay than it is Detroit.
So when you look at this, and I know this question gets asked a million times over the last couple of weeks, but which team is better in the NFC right now? Is it the Detroit Lions or is it the Philadelphia Eagles? I mean, Detroit's won 10 consecutive games. The Eagles have won 8 consecutive games.
Yeah. I say Detroit. Detroit's been the most dominant football team throughout the season. I think Detroit is a little bit I don't want to say they don't have a flaw that I can find out. Like, they're a very aggressive defense. So, again, that's not a flaw, but, like, you got a lot of opportunity to go take advantage of that if you're a diverse offense. Philadelphia's been fantastic. The way that they've played the last 2 months is awesome. I don't think they blink. They're dominating the line of scrimmage. They started slow. That's the one thing that I continuously point to. They started slow. They have all year. It didn't hurt them last week, so I have to give them credit for that. But I don't know how often you're going to be able to, like, do that and get away with it type of thing. And so I don't know if there's a clear either one is better. They're both the class of the NFC.
I just happen to have Jordan Love and Sam Darnold on my fantasy football team and need a win this week to make the playoffs. So I'll ask you, do you feel like Jordan Love can have a good game tonight? And when is Jordan Love at his best?
I absolutely think he can and will have a good game tonight. He's playing. He's starting to surge right now, partly because he's been healthy finally over the past 6 or 7 weeks. You know, he had those times this year where he got hurt, start the season, missed some time, got hurt again, got back. You know, so he's finally just in a stretch of health. I also believe that the Packers offensively match up well against Detroit. Detroit wants to play a ton of man. When you get that as an offense, I either want a person or people. One person that I know is better than everybody else. They don't really have that in Green Bay. Now, I would say Romeo Doubs has been that. He's not going to play tonight, but they got a bunch of people. They're the 49ers in the Midwest. And so you constantly have a bunch of different options for Jordan Love to take advantage of. I think that bodes well for them. When he's at his best, he walks the line. You know, he is the daredevil. You know, he's the ultra aggressive quarterback. I feel like I'm the best player on the field. And when he has that mindset that there's not a throw he can't make, that's when he's at his best. Now, you just don't want him to take that one more step. And then you go, Jordan, why'd you do that? You know, but I truly believe you want him in an aggressive mindset.
Dan Orlovsky is with us from ESPN. He joins us each week courtesy of MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag. Get that deposit bonus of 300% for use in the casino area. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. We just saw him in a win on Monday night. Bo Nix played high school in this state. For a minute, played college in this state as well. What is he doing so well to make Bo Nix play better than a lot of people in this state honestly thought he could in the NFL?
Yeah, well, I think part of it is he did a lot of stuff at the back end of his college career that gave him the foundation to play well. You know, he matured. He played a ton of snaps. He saw a ton of defenses. He stopped trying to think of, I got to hit a home run every play. So he's got built up reps of really kind of playing the position in many ways outside of I was born a really good athlete. Okay. So that's part of this. That's one of the reasons why Denver drafted him. The second thing is he plays very clear. What I mean by that is Sean Payton and that staff have done a very good job of making sure this is what we're looking at. You're looking for this specific player. And if this player does this, you're doing this with the ball. And it's not all the time. I don't want to make it sound dumbed down in a certain way, but he is having a very clear vision and clean vision of trying to play they're getting him to play as quick as possible decision-wise because they're cutting off the fat of a lot of plays. He's not trying to see too much, and then the physical talent takes over. And that's a massive part of why he's playing at such a high level. I also believe he's playing in a way confidence and conviction-wise where, he's throwing the ball downfield really well. And that's a strength of his because his arm is pretty powerful. So you're just seeing a kid that feels very confident in what he's looking at. And then Sean Payton is cutting the fat off a lot and not trying him to ask him to see too much.
Okay, we are going to sound like fantasy nerds here, and I can't believe I'm bringing this up.
Two fantasy questions in one interview.
I've got a point. I really, you don't have to weigh in on the fantasy, but
I thought I hid mine very well.
Because Jaden Daniels isn't playing this week, I had to grab a quarterback, and I noticed that somebody had dropped Kirk Cousins. So I'm like, hell, I'll take Kirk Cousins.
4 interceptions.
Going back to play his Minnesota Vikings. My question is, what is wrong with Kirk Cousins? That was a weird game, and I do think the Chargers has got a really good defense, but a couple of those picks were god-awful. What is going on right now with Kirk Cousins, and what is the solution?
Yeah, the main issue with Kirk specifically is he doesn't look like, and he's not displaying the traits that he's shown for the great majority of his career that made him a top 10 player. He's always been really good with his decision-making. He's always been really clean with what he's looking at coverage-wise. He's always had great recognition of what the defense's rotation was after the play. That has not been the case the last 2 weeks. He's forced the football. He's guessed on coverage. That's not who he's been. So, for him specifically, he's got to get back to that. Do I think he can? Of course I think he can. I also think this with the Falcons. I hate when they get into the pistol formation. I don't like it. I don't think Kirk's nearly as effective. I feel it makes Kirk feel and stand in a stationary statue type of setting back in the middle of the pocket. If I were Atlanta, I would get rid of that more often than not.
I'll ask you about being in a 5 wide on my Madden game next week. Too much silly stuff. So Monday night, Bengals and Cowboys on the platform there that you're part of. And did I see on one of my screens here in studio that you're part of the animation with the Simpsons and the Bengals and Cowboys? Is that reality?
Yep. So last year they started this with Toy Story, and it was a massive success and won a bunch of Emmys. And this year they partnered with The Simpsons. And so during that game, they're also, I believe, on Disney Plus. We're calling the game in Disney character mode. It is live. It's not a reproduction. It's live. And so you're going to be in the Simpsons world. And we're actually in a Homer's dream. And it's Homer versus Bart, and Homer's with the Cowboys, and Bart's with the Bengals. And Mina, I, and Drew Carter are calling that game in the dream. We're in the dream. He's dreaming of us as part of it. So I'm a Simpsons character, which somehow, is mind-blowing to me. But it's very cool. I'm a 90s kid, so, I was that definitely punk 12-year-old in school walking around saying, eat my shorts type of stuff. So I'm pretty fired up.
Is that Drew Carter that used to work here? Is that who he's talking about? Didn't Drew used to work in Birmingham?
Yeah, ESPN's Drew Carter, right?
Drew Carter, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he worked with you at 42?
Absolutely.
How about that?
Yeah. And voice of the Celtics in basketball. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Hey, Dan, before we get you out of here, just because you cover both the NFL and college, we threw this question out earlier this week. And
South Carolina.
It had nothing to do with the playoffs, but well, kind of.
Yeah.
But
we'll come back to that.
That's the most NFL thing, non-head-to-head. Come on, head-to-head matters.
It caused us to really hesitate. But if I asked you right now, are you more comfortable telling me one team that will get to the Super Bowl in New Orleans or one team that will play for the national championship?
One team that'll play for the national championship, I believe that'll be Oregon. I'm very confident in Oregon as a football team. I think the NFL's got 4 or 5 that I could see absolutely getting there.
Okay, and you would put South Carolina in over all the other SEC teams, you say?
I would have put South Carolina in over that trifecta of the Ole Miss and Alabama. I know, yes, of course, head-to-head matters, but when the head-to-head happens, matters. I think South Carolina's playing better than those other 2 teams. I think their quarterback's playing just as well as those other 2 teams, if not better. I believe that they've got better wins than those other 2 teams. I don't think they have nearly as bad of losses as those other 2 teams. So all in all, I think they're the better football team, yes.
I love you to death. I also grew up an Alabama fan, so I'm not going to question you on South Carolina's better wins, but, or take you back to week 1, that Old Dominion game that they barely won. Barely won.
Long time ago.
It wasn't.
Who's the better team right now?
Well, you tell me which Jalen Milroe shows up, and I'll tell you who the better team is.
Yeah. That's a fair point.
I tell you what, there is not an Alabama fan out there that wants to see their defense have to tackle Lenora Sellers. I will tell you that.
No.
Sellers would have a field day in that game.
It'll be tough enough tackling Riley Leonard in the snow.
All right, he is Dan Orlovsky. See him on the Simpsons game coming up this Monday night. It should be fun. I know your kids think that is really cool, Dan. Thank you very much for the time. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, guys.
All right, buddy. You too. Dan Orlovsky with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Dan joins us each week, courtesy of MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag right now. They are giving you a deposit to use in the casino, 300% of your initial deposit. Use it at the casino at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag. Code next round.
Also by our friends right there at Hemp Hill Services, heat, air conditioning, plumbing. They've handled it all since the 1950s.
Yeah, and I told you, my logs went out, the gas logs. They came out 30 minutes in and out, fixed it. So good last night, I had to open the back door. It got so hot in there. But if you experience any of these plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Hard to stop a train, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
They found that money in the air duct that Dunaway said?
They did not.
I was hoping for that.
Unfortunate for you.
Yeah. I would have taken 10% if you'd given it to me for that. I think this is going to blow your mind a little bit, Brownie, and you love television ratings.
Okay.
But the Egg Bowl, 2:30 on a Friday, 4.33 million viewers on ABC, the most watched Egg Bowl since 2014.
Well, keep in mind, since 2014, it's been going head-to-head with an NFL game.
Yeah.
So that hurts it. And
it was a bad game.
And that NFL game is a NBC game, not an Amazon game, too. So that hurts it even more. But that is a big jump. I think it was like 2.5 million on a Thursday night, on a Thanksgiving night.
So there you go. That's the most watched since 2014 for the Egg Bowl on a Friday. And I think a lot of us were like, man, you're moving it off Thanksgiving primetime. As a Southern fan, I love the Egg Bowl on Thursday night. Would like a marquee college football game on Thursday night, but we seem to be shunning that now.
You're not going to get it. I don't think you'll ever get an SEC game on Thanksgiving night again. I asked someone in the SEC that question when the Egg Bowl got moved off. I said, should I assume that I'll never see another Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving night or another SEC game on Thanksgiving night? And the answer I got was yes.
Yeah.
You should assume both of those. So I don't think you'll ever see another SEC game there. I think it, by and large, will be games like we got, Tulane, Memphis.
Yeah, which ended up being a monumental game for Tulane and the loss there. All right, show being brought to you by our friends at Champy's, world-famous fried chicken, champyschicken.com. Highway 119 in Alabaster. More recruiting talk. We have gone the whole show without talking about National Signing Day. Want a couple of more thoughts on that. But Champy's Chicken will give you the thoughts when it comes to the best possible lunch. If you've got visitors from out of town and they're like, we're from the north. We don't really understand good food. Let me sample Southern cuisine. Where should we go? Oh, honey, let's take them down to Champy's on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Great Southern fried chicken, all the great sides. Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and unbelievable customer service from Sterling and the team there. It's Highway 119 in Alabaster. It's Champy's Chicken, champyschicken.com. Cut number 4, Alabama's Kalen DeBoer in the conversation for the playoffs, and another great recruiting class, number 2 in the country, according to On3 Sports. Texas, Alabama, Oregon. Alabama's right there.
Yeah. Oddly, I think the bigger question when DeBoer took the job was, can he recruit to Saban's level, not can he coach to Saban's level?
That was it.
Yeah.
That was, I don't think anybody doubted when you started to look at his resume, and I'm sure that's what Alabama fans did is they Googled and they were like, damn, this guy's won a lot of games. But it seemed like a weird fit coming from where DeBoer was from to the SEC, and that was, can he recruit? You're exactly right. And that's why I believe if Alabama does get in at 9-3, whether they win or lose a game, when you look at what he did with this recruiting class, I think Alabama fans are going to be like, damn, 9-3 college football playoff with the top 5 class.
He's number 11 in coaching, number 2 in recruiting, and I don't think people thought it would be that order.
I would tell you right now, in or out, I'm giving the year a B+ or an A. I think is about as good as you can follow up who he's following up. Here's Kalen DeBoer on the situation he's in right now than he was, about 336 days ago?
I'm confident. You're confident to an extent in today's day and age. I think there's always surprises, but I think that there will be a level of retention that's different, right, than what we went through a year ago because of the transition and the craziness with the changes and all that happened here. And so I think there'll be, retention. There's going to be guys that do move on, and there's obviously guys that making decisions to go on to the NFL too. And so I feel good that we're in a good spot, and we have an idea of maybe where we need to go in the weeks ahead in the portal, and a guy here, a guy there that can help fill our team to really be at the level we need to be at, whether it's numbers or talent-wise, to have the success we're looking for.
And I'm not saying this as a complaint or a negative about either Nick Saban or Kalen DeBoer by the way they do it. I just think the game is changing so fast in just 1 year from when Nick Saban stepped down. I think Kalen DeBoer and Courtney Morgan, the GM, will be so much more aggressive in the portal than Nick Saban ever was. And even with a great recruiting class, I think they will be more aggressive in the portal.
I think, and look, this might be bad for team chemistry, and people will say, well, it worked for Indiana. Indiana brought a good portion of their transfers over from one program where Kirk Cignetti was. But, boy, I would be so active in the transfer portal because you do have a good sample size on what these guys are able to do at the next level. Doesn't always work.
I mean, look at Nolan at
Walter Nolan at Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, you look at the players they plugged in. Now, they're not in the playoff conversation, but that was the best Ole Miss team that they put out in a long time.
J.J. Pegues from Auburn.
Yeah. There's just a certain – you've got to the portal is going to be full of stars, some diamonds out there. Getting the right ones are important. I just think he'll be more aggressive than Nick Saban was.
I will say this about Alabama's situation right now is there are programs that may or may not have known where the NIL rules were going, and they've done it one way. And then there were programs that were like, we're going to do it this way, and the NIL rules have come back to them. Or they're like, we know where these NIL rules are going. Let's already operate that way. Alabama is, I think, in that third group where they were like, we think this is where NIL is going. Let's just go ahead and operate that way so that when it gets there, it's not a huge adjustment for us, which is a credit to Greg Byrne, and I think it will help Alabama's recruiting down the road.
Really, I believe your roster needs to be about a fourth of first-year transfers.
Yeah, you would like that.
I mean, like SMU, just looking at this team that is going to play for – maybe they win or lose to get to a college football playoff. 23 of their players are first-year transfers.
Damani Jackson was a big part of Alabama's team this year, is a big part of Alabama's team this year.
He was probably he was their best corner.
Yeah, and I was asked, how is Damani going to play? I don't know because USC's defense as a whole was so bad the last couple of years, but he's been a pleasant surprise.
Let me tell you how well he played, how often you hear his name.
Right.
That's the test on a cornerback.
Give me cut 3, if you will, Tyler. This was strange to me yesterday, but I'm not apparently an opposing team recruiting against Hugh Freeze. I got this alert when I was on the golf course, and I was like, this is an odd comment. I want to play it for you, and I want LT and Brown. I know Brown's got some thoughts on it. LT and Will, I know Will too. Hugh Freeze said this yesterday.
They hear everything under the world, some of the stories that, and I love the fact that I'm big on, and I tell them I want to have real, authentic, genuine relationships, and that means we tell each other the truth, and some of the ones we lost, we probably didn't, I guess I didn't have that real, genuine relationship because I wasn't being told the whole truth, but most of these guys did, and then they will tell me what some of the stories the other staffs would use, or Freeze is stepping down and for health reasons, and I mean I heard some crazy things, and it's just I can't tell these young men how proud I am for them and thankful for them staying loyal and understanding the vision.
I got to say, This goes on in recruiting all the time, obviously. Rumors of, your coach is leaving, he's taking this job, or he's stepping down because of age. When you do health reasons, I feel like you've crossed a line.
Oh, I do too. Like, if I ever have to make an excuse, I try not to, but I would never use the kid is sick. Because then the next thing you know, your kid gets sick. Like,
you're tempting fate at that point.
It is bad karma. And, like, if you're out really selling that on the recruiting trail, and look, I'm sure some people probably do it, but I agree with you. That is crossing a line.
Yeah, I feel like
so
I've
you guys
crossed a line.
100% believe somebody said that about Hugh Freeze in recruiting.
I mean, it would be a weird thing for him to bring up, but I can't say 100% no. He said players told him.
It might be as simple as, hey, look, here's a shot at Hugh at his press conference. Does he look healthy to you?
It looks like a second-term president.
Yeah. No, in a lot of ways, Hugh does. I think this job has been a little bit of a grind for him based on the on-field product. And the last time he was in the SEC, it was a totally different operation than when he's in the SEC now.
I would tell you every year Kirby Smart looks better when we see him
I agree.
out of the regions than when we see him in Atlanta at the SEC championship game.
Yeah.
He's refreshed and ready to, piss fire when we're at the regions.
Sounds awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. That's Tom Hanks in Green Mile.
Piss fire.
That is not Hugh's health issue. Greg from Pell City is with us on the phones. Greg, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing great. I wanted y'all probably already talked about this. I try to listen as much as I can. Been pretty busy, but the one thing that frustrates, and I think that they're going to have to change next year when it comes to this committee, is maybe use Vegas a little bit. I think that would be huge in trying to rank these teams. But they've really made their bed with this SMU. If they're, I'm a Bama fan. I want Bama in there. But if SMU wins, they deserve to go because you've said they've been better. You got them rated higher in Alabama. Right now, if SMU was number 14, where they probably need to be, there'd be no debate. You lose, you're not making it. You see what I'm saying? And so and to me, if you get Vegas involved a little bit, because Vegas, man, their numbers are dead on normally. They really know what they're doing. And so, like, if you say, all right, no doubt, if anybody has a 5-point favorite, or just have some kind of criteria where you're including that, because Alabama is going to make more noise than SMU.
Well, Greg, let me phrase a question for LT here, though. Vegas doesn't really consider records. Is that fair?
No,
100%.
That is fair. If you look and you can Google Vegas power rankings right now, and
take for instance Kansas and Colorado. Records were vastly different. Kansas was the favorite in that game, right?
Yeah, and Greg, I believe in the Vegas angle, but this has been one of those unique years where if somebody is trying to counterpoint, they would be like, well, Vegas said Alabama was a 14-point favorite in Norman, and they got what we would call the dick whipping. So it doesn't always work out like that. But look, I do agree. Like, and I said this, I guess you asked it maybe Monday, like, what would this number be? I said in Dallas, I think Alabama would be a 7-point favorite on SMU's home field.
Yeah, and that seems low to me, but that's what LT says it would be.
Well, the thing I'm just trying to help them do is now I bet they're looking back, they're like, crap, guys, we got them rated too high. Now, they've kind of made their bed. They got to deal with it. So if they win Saturday, I'm expecting them to make it. I think it'll help the community save face.
Well, if they win, they're automatically
if they win.
And they deserve to be
lose.
If they lose.
If they lose.
But back to counter your argument, Greg, the problem is, we didn't foresee this many 3-loss teams in the SEC. We thought it would be a bunch of 2-loss teams. And if that was the case, I think they would be ranked in front. You have so much attrition on the front end, and I think you're going to get this every year now with the expansion of the Big Ten and the SEC. You're going to have 2- and 3-loss teams. These other conferences, you're going to have the 1-loss team, and by that, they'll continue to climb up the top 25. And once you have one of these 2 or 3 losses, that's when you fall backwards and you end up behind one of these teams.
Yeah, I agree. I'm agreeing with Jim now more, though, with all this that's happened this week and all the crap you're hearing about Alabama. I think that if they lose, they're going in. I don't think Bama will get in. I just don't think they will now, just because they're. We'll see. I hope so.
Greg, thank you.
Well, do you guys think, Brown, that a network executive can get involved and say, hey, look, I got to have a conversation with you. I know it's going to come down to it. Clemson just beat SMU. But this Alabama-Notre Dame game is big, and we need brands in this. And if it's coming down to it, I just want to tell you guys make your decision. But if it's this close, we at the network would like to see Alabama.
I would hope it isn't done that way, but I don't know that it's necessary to do it that way because you don't know that that's not their marching orders from day one. You know what I'm saying? Is like, listen, guys.
Well, I think if it is, they're going to get the reminder.
I'm going to tell you this in August, so you'll remember it in December. If it comes down to obvious brand against obvious non-brand, we want the obvious brand. Just assume that's what we want, right? You don't even have to ask us.
Yeah.
If it's obvious brand. Now, if it gets to a coin toss and you need to throw a call in to me, you could do that. But if it's obvious brand versus obvious non-brand, with that, I mean, you've got our answer. You know where we want you to go.
I've always believed it would be a certain number of Big Ten teams, a certain number of SEC teams.
Regardless?
Then we would let the rest come and play.
Yeah. Do you think 3 is a certain number?
That's the question. Is it 3 or is it 4?
Oh, okay. Well, I guess you'll find out Sunday. Unless SMU wins. Look, I mean, I don't even know how to – I go back and forth. Like, it feels like the most Clemson thing in the world is for them to win this game now. So Dabo can come and say, everybody doubted it. Y'all all doubted us. Yeah. We've not gone anywhere. Yeah. You know, we just did it differently than we've done it before.
Y'all shucked y'all's corn before it was off the stalk.
That's right. I'm unlike the rest of y'all. I'll wait till all the play is done. You know, that would be the most Dabo thing ever.
And we did it with Clemson people.
That's right. I didn't have to hit the portal.
So there will be SMU parties all over the state, right? Against Clemson.
SMU will be the most popular team in this state.
Because, yes. You'll hear people out your back door yelling and screaming if SMU wins this game. Here is good news. In the college football playoff era since 2014, a team coming off a loss going into their conference championship game, it's happened 9 times. What do you think the record is coming off a loss in 9 games?
Coming off a loss going to a
conference championship. And the only one of the power – so Penn State and Oregon both won. Texas and Georgia both won. Arizona State and Iowa State both won.
I would say 1-8.
So the only team that is coming off a loss is Clemson.
1-8.
I'm going to say they've never backed up a loss with a win.
It's 1-8.
Do you know the one?
2022 North Carolina over Clemson. Or Clemson over North Carolina, excuse me.
Yeah. So they had lost to South Carolina.
They had lost South Carolina, then they beat North Carolina the next week. But they were a massive favorite in that game.
So it's a tradition for Clemson, is what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe. But, that's got to make you feel a little bit better. Now, they're playing for something entirely different this year, knowing that they can get to a college football playoff.
Yeah, and there'll be some sphincter factor for SMU in this game. And I would imagine some for Clemson. But I would imagine is it 4-loss Clemson? Or
3-loss.
3-loss Clemson. Yeah. If you're 3-loss Clemson, you're probably just like, oh man, this is free money. We get a shot here.
I don't know.
SMU, it's like, oh God, we can't miss this opportunity.
And maybe that's the difference. It's different than the Big 12. Like in the Big 12, nobody thinks they got a free shot here. This is
it's a playoff.
Yeah, it's a playoff game for the Big 12.
This weekend, and we did have a little chaos last weekend. I go back to what you said though. If Georgia would have lost to Georgia Tech, I really think Georgia, if they lost to Texas and took on that 4th loss, I don't think they're getting in, especially when it came down to Alabama and Georgia.
Well, they would have been out of the ranking.
That's right. They would have been out of the rankings already, and that's what I had said.
Yeah.
The loss in the SEC championship game wouldn't have cost them. The Georgia Tech loss would have had them out before they got to it.
Yeah. Our whole thing about conference championship game participant not being left out, the asterisk we should have added to that all year, and it's on me because I've said it as much as anybody and haven't added the asterisk is, if you're in the rankings going into that conference championship game, you're not going to get left out.
Georgia would just be Clemson.
That's right. Yeah,
Clemson has no chance of being in without the win.
They lost to Tech. Yes.
I should have known better, but I thought last weekend would be the weekend that was so much hype, but it's really this weekend. Because not only, winning in when you're looking at the Big 12, but also the side drama of that one other team between SMU and Alabama.
Yeah, but didn't you say the SEC championship game doesn't have the drama, though?
Oh, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
That really, outside of just pulling it.
That really used to be the only game that had the drama.
Oh, I know. That is true, yeah. Both teams could make the playoffs somehow.
Because the Big Ten was always a 40-point beatdown, it felt like, and then the other ones didn't matter, and there were no fans at them. And the SEC was the one that mattered and was packed. And now it's just the opposite, that the other ones have storylines, and it's just for the SEC. I say just, but it's just the SEC championship, and Texas and Georgia are going to be fine, and they're going to move on and do great things in the playoffs, I'm sure. We'll be in Atlanta, though, because that SEC championship still gets you a banner, still gets you a trophy, and it gets you a bye, and we'll be over there coming up with parts of our show tomorrow. The show being brought to you by our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa. Woodhouse, one of our great sponsors here, and the perfect bail you out of jail card with the wife or girlfriend any time of year.
Yeah, it's so simple. And look, maybe conference championship weekend, the game's going to be that big, and she doesn't want to watch football. Guess what? Send her to the Woodhouse Day Spa. A little precursor to what you're going to give her for the holiday season. This holiday season, treat that special someone to the gift of luxury from Birmingham's best day spa, the Woodhouse Day Spa, located at the Summit Shopping Centers, right off of Highway 280. You can choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. Order that special person gift online 24/7, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Stop and see Stuart and that great staff at the Summit Shopping Centers and tell them the Next Round sent you.
And our friends, Daniel A. Moore, DanielMooreArt.com, the legend Nick Saban, hang it in the Louvre right there. 6 national championships, the celebration, the legend right there. You can pick it up right now, DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com. And you can still order the 2025 calendar by using the coupon code TNR. Get you 20% off. Crimson and white calendar right there. All the great DanielMooreArt.com works from over the years. And the legend and everything else right there online, DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com.
Call the Next Round now at 205-734-0923.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
Hey, you. It's the holidays. Give cheer a lift. And at New Balance Birmingham, we got the gift. That holiday vibe? Find it inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the Next Round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there. On the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy. Have fun out there.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on The Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at The Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Hey, last night was trivia night at Odie's. The question was...
which came first, Jay-Z or the Post-it note? Tyler, what do you think?
I'm sorry, what was it?
Jay-Z or the Post-it note, which came first?
I'm sorry, I didn't have my earbud in.
One more time. Jay-Z or the Post-it note, Tyler? Which one came first?
The Post-it note. I'm going to go with Jay-Z.
I too am going to go with Jay-Z.
I know the history of the Post-it note, but I think it was the late 70s. So I think I'm going to go Jay-Z came first.
Yeah, I used to wear the Post-it note out. When we were in radio, those damn things were everywhere in my cubicle. I still use them to a good degree, not like I used to use them. Jay-Z, birthday yesterday, we brought it up on the show. December 4th, 1969, he's 55 years old. The Post-it note debuted in 1977.
Wow.
So Brown, very close there. These are the little factoids you learn every Wednesday night at Odie's Team Trivia. We do it at the original location at Crestline, newest location in Edgewood. Great food from Rodney Davis. Both locations, from the award-winning wings, great burgers, sandwiches like that Diablo sandwich, ice-cold beer buckets, great patio to enjoy this, well, I guess, winter weather now. But they've got heaters out there. Stop in, see all the fine folks. Odie's Tavern.
Hey, now that you're back listening to the show, Tyler, why don't you give us a thumbs up that you tuned in. And spin that wheel and hit that open for trash. Let's do it, man.
Tell me about the whistles. The whistles go woo. When you want to woo woo, it's that woo woo. You know what I'm saying?
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Hey, always buying season. Our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Veteran founded here in Birmingham, offer loans throughout the country while the area they serve may have grown. Their commitment to Birmingham and veterans has not changed. Before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You can get more information. Go to their website, mortgageright.com. Call 205-900-7200, MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. This story from Jim Dunaway.
A submission from Dunaway and trash?
Joe Burrow, still one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in all of football. Say what you want, that team would be defeated without him.
No. He's playing great. He can't help it. They can't stop running water.
The only guy probably on a 4-win team that's ever should have been in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, I mean, he's that good. He revealed in the first episode of Hard Knocks in season with the AFC North that he had purchased a Batmobile during a conversation with teammates Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Now, the conversation about Batman's vehicle came early in the premiere episode of the HBO program while the Bengals quarterback was talking at practice with his 2 receivers. Quote, "Have I told you I bought a Batmobile?" Burrow says to Higgins in the moment, which prompted the receiver to ask if he had gotten it delivered yet. Quote, "I don't get it for like a year, but I bought it," he responded to the question. The scene then jumped to show a post on X by Lights Camera Barstool about Warner Brothers selling 10 fully functional but not street legal replicas of the Batmobile from the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy. We actually had this story in Trash on the Table.
I remember it, yeah.
A few months ago. Now, Chase joined in on the conversation and suggested that he has to go all in as the Vengeance Batman. I think I got to go all in and go for the expensive Batsuit too, Burrow chimed in. The trio later joked that the club could be the best place to break out the Batmobile and the Batsuit. I would say that Burrow lives a little like Bruce Wayne, if I'm guessing.
Oh, that's a great comparison, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably got an incredible life.
Still single, right?
Just living like a king.
I think so.
Like Cincinnati.
There were rumors that Livy Dunn for a little bit, right?
Yeah, but he had that girl that was with him on draft night. He had a girlfriend.
Now, I think Livy Dunn was like actively pursuing him.
And then she had to settle for Skeens.
Yeah, she settled for a major league pitcher.
Yeah. Cy Young.
That's right.
I mean, Skeens and Burrow do look a little different side by side.
Yeah.
I had a friend send me this yesterday, and, when I was out in Vegas a couple of years, somebody that is in the Vegas mix was talking about, how sad the situation was with Britney Spears. And this is back before all the videos were going out. And I don't know if you guys saw the weird Instagram video yesterday, but Britney Spears turned 43 this past Monday. Celebrated the moment by sharing some bizarre news on her Instagram. Now, the singer posted a pair of videos where she made odd claims about the paparazzi and that she's not turning 42, though she actually turned 43.
Wow.
But now that she says she's 5 years old. Quote, I'm not really sure why the paparazzi have me going on a plane looking like I'm wearing a Jason mask, referring to Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. Doesn't even look like me. I don't know why I have a torch in my hand, honestly. I think my friend accidentally gave it to me. She then explained that she's a lot younger than her latest birthday would lead us to believe. She goes on to say, but anyways, it's my birthday. I'm not turning 42. I'm turning 5 this year. I'm turning 5 years old, and I have to go to kindergarten tomorrow, she added. It really kind of hurts my feelings. The paparazzi made my face look like I'm wearing a white Jason mask. It doesn't even look like me. They've always been incredibly cruel to me, the paparazzi in pictures. I mean, it's sad. I mean, she, a lot of people believe that her parents are the ones that kind of destroyed everything about her.
Well, it's hard to believe. I mean, there was a time where I don't know if she was the top entertainer in the world, but boy, she was in the discussion.
No, she was, I'm not going to say she was as big as Taylor Swift, but for a moment
in the
in time,
early
she 2000s,
was.
She was massive.
She didn't sustain it like Taylor Swift has, but for a singular moment in time.
Those VMAs with her and Aguilera and Madonna, where she's making out with Madonna, I mean, she was big news. Dating Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just
shows it can fall apart.
Hope it ends well for her, but man, I'll tell you, some weird stuff. Argument over wrong way driving landed one man in jail and left another with non-life-threatening injuries, according to the Lee County Sheriff's Office. Deputies say Rolando Alonzo was the primary aggressor in the altercation, which took place in North Fort Myers. According to police, evidence shows that Alonzo began swinging a saw-like tool towards the victim as the argument escalated.
Book by cover, very believable.
Deputies say Alonzo eventually struck the victim with a saw-like tool, also used a piece of ceramic pottery as a weapon. Oh, that will work. Breaking Bad Season 1, the old plate breaks. Walt White does his best with that. Alonzo was charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. Last time he washed his hair.
It has been a minute. Again, were you a crusty person right there, I believe. I think he bitches about fast food orders. He complains about traffic. He's always walking around grumbling about something. He looks like a grumbler to me, Tyler.
That is a definite grumbler face.
My God, it's a grumbler.
Imagine catching a felony charge over Raising Cane's dipping sauce.
It is good, though.
That is what investigators say transpired Friday afternoon in Florida, where a 31-year-old woman was arrested for strong-arm robbery after she became, quote, hostile both verbally and physically after fast food workers failed to include 8 sauces in her mobile pickup order.
Okay, we're going to need to address the fact that the freckles match the hair color.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she got freckles tattooed on her or if it's just multicolored glitter to match her hair.
I mean, if she was Asian, you'd be like she's part of an anime game, right?
Yeah.
I have this craving for sherbet right now, though.
It's very sherbet color.
Boy, those are some bangs, aren't they?
They are. That is a look right there.
Now, according to court records, Mackenzie Keeling retrieved her grub from Raising Cane's in Clearwater, only later to discover that she was, quote, missing 8 packs of cane sauce. Doing upset when they leave the sauce out after you've asked. Now, Keeling returned to the restaurant, spoke to a female manager who provided Keeling with the dipping sauce. However, the manager, Tatiana Herbert, declined Keeling's request that she had to be provided with extra sauces in return for wasting her time and gas. After her sauce bid was refused, Keeling became hostile both verbally and physically, began yelling in the eatery, disturbing staff and customers both.
Dip this!
During her alleged tirade, Keeling, quote, shot out her right hand with force and struck Herbert in the leg, according to cops. She then allegedly tried to tear off the victim's keys and Cane's ID from a lanyard attached to Herbert's belt. Cops reported the victim was in fear, adding that the sauce was witnessed, or the sauce melee was witnessed by 2 Raising Cane employees and captured on CCTV footage. Keeling was arrested and booked into county jail, for which he was released Saturday on a $2,500 bond.
Raising hell, am I right?
Hey.
Raising
Someone in the
Cane's.
chat's calling her Hardly Quinn.
Boy, this thing
Instead of Harley Quinn, she's Hardly Quinn.
has
That's
grown
pretty good.
fast. Raising Cane's has more than 800 U.S. franchises. Their One Love slogan, an extra 1.5-ounce container of Cane's dipping sauce, which 190 calories if you're counting, costs 39 cents.
I think it could have changed, but at one point he owned them all. He had not franchised them out to anyone. He owned them all. Now that probably has changed.
I think that's changed. That's how it's expanded so quickly.
Yeah, but at one point there were a lot of them, and he owned every single one.
Watch for the product to go down. That's what typically happens.
Once you sell it.
Yep.
Yeah, you lose
don't
all
really
the control.
care, though.
Yeah, that's true. You know, when the product goes down, you sleep on a $100 billion pillow.
Okay, I don't know how this ends up, but you guys tell me how you think it will end up.
Okay.
Luke, former school music teacher from Seattle, Washington, decided to leave his teaching job to pursue his dream of sailing around the world. Purchased a 27-foot sailboat, named it Songbird, and began his solo journey across the Pacific Ocean.
How old was he when he died?
Now, Luke documents his adventure on his TikTok account at @sailing_songbird, sharing daily updates to his followers.
Hey, is this photo from 1968 or today? You tell me.
Yeah.
Well, he is kind of like the Woodstock version of Johnny Depp's Jack Sparrow.
What was the name of this album? Son of a Sailor?
That's a young Jimmy Buffett.
Now, in one of the most popular videos, Luke is seen standing on an inflatable paddleboard in the middle of the ocean with his sailboat visible in the background. Boy, he better hope that thing doesn't float off.
Don't get flipped.
Now, he mentions that he is in the doldrums, an area known for its calm winds, leaving him stranded without wind to sail.
Should have thought of this.
To illustrate his remote location, Luke shares a screenshot from Google Maps showing that he is over 1,000 miles away from any landmass.
So he's stuck?
This revelation right now.
If you're a sailboat,
needs to win.
Revelation has caused anxiety among many viewers. Some express their fear of open water, known as Thessalonica.
That's from the Bible.
Thalassophobia.
Oh.
Something like that. While others are amazed by Luke's calm demeanor in such isolation. Now, comments on the video include statements like, quote, "Nothing is creepier than an open body of water." There's another one that says, "This is quite literally my biggest fear." Despite the concerns of his audience, Luke appears to embrace the solitude, describes the experience as incredibly disorienting, yet acknowledges it as one of the most remarkable moments he's been privileged to experience.
Is that the tip of South Africa or?
No, that's Mexico.
That's Mexico? Okay.
Yeah.
It says
I can't see.
Mexico right here.
I can't see that part of here.
Now,
because of the lighting.
He has a satellite dish on his boat, allowing him to access the internet, share his journey in real time. This capability has led to humorous comments such as, "Man's uploading from Pacific Ocean and I'm losing network in my bathroom." It's so true. Luke's journey began in October when he set sail from Seattle, traveled down to Mexico before embarking on his Pacific crossing. His decision to leave his teaching career was fueled by a desire to fulfill his dream of sailing around the world. I think he's going to disappear. We're never going to see him again.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt he makes it back. The betting favorite's got to be Lost at Sea, right?
Well, I mean, even if you're an experienced seaman, which I'm going to assume that he is not as experienced as many.
With my cover, I'd say I agree.
Yeah, and it's just not going to end good.
Yeah.
I mean, can sailboats also have a motor?
Well, they
Because
can.
That's what he needs.
It does not appear that he planned on that part.
Okay,
I mean, it's not like he's in a race where there's rules. He could have had whatever he wanted.
That's right.
But is it a 27-footer, right?
Yeah, 27-footer, and he's in an area with no wind.
No wind. In a sailboat.
I'll tell you guys, like as cool as it might be having that solitude for a little bit and getting away, if you had the most experienced sailor in the world and you had an opportunity to sail from Mexico all the way across from the Pacific, and at the end of the journey, it was just you and him, you get $1 million, would you do it?
Just me and him?
Yep.
I don't think so.
I
mean,
think
there's
it's
no
too,
guarantee I make it even with an experience.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's too dicey.
It's too dicey, yeah.
One massive storm could be the difference in everything.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Unless I'm with the U.S. Navy, no.
Yeah, that's true. I'd trust a naval officer.
Yeah, and a big ship.
Yeah.
And guns.
Okay,
Correct.
would you rather do it, and I think you've got a much better chance of survival in a submarine, But would you take the claustrophobia of the submarine or the 37-foot boat?
Do we ever
Depends
surface?
Who made the submarine? I don't want the one that just crushed.
Oh, the one that was
underwater
looking for the
from on back.
Titanic?
No,
Yeah, those idiots.
I would need the U.S. Navy.
Yes.
Yeah, that was like a
submarine.
kit car.
Yeah.
But even with the U.S. Navy, I wouldn't want to get in their submarine and be submerged.
That's what
for
I'm
that
asking. I
long.
don't get to surface at all?
No.
Oh, I don't know if I could do that.
I don't think I could, but once I'm down there, I think at that point I can. It's going to be.
I'll figure it out.
It's going to be if I'm in one of those nuclear subs, which is a little bigger. I think once I'm down there, it's going to be like I'm inside a cruise ship, or, almost like our buddy C. Stu, who's afraid of heights. He's already in the hotel room now, away from the window. So once you can talk yourself in. I'm not under the sea. Try not to think about that.
It would be tough. Our buddy Herb, when he lived at the beach, there was a guy that worked their complex. His name was Al, and he was an ex-Navy guy. And I got a conversation with him, and they would be submerged for like weeks at a time, and then they would come up, and guys would get out and swim in the open ocean, and one guy had to stay up there, and look out for sharks.
Yeah, with a gun.
Yeah.
And shoot. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah. All right, that's Trash Today, brought to you by.
Hey, if you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help, whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned home buying veteran. Their great service and low rates make the process so easy. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home or your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. Visit them online, mortgageright.com. Call Birmingham office 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Might as well end the show with people who are pissed. Let's go Cam Ward. Cam Ward blasting the playoff committee on social media, basically asking, does those guys even watch tape? He's talking about them in a podcast. Do those boys on the committee, not sure they watch the games or not. And he says, tell them boys, go watch the real tape, not no highlights and stuff, because he says we're playing better defenses. Cam Ward says we're playing better defenses.
Than who? Alabama?
Than the teams that are ahead of them. Yeah, I would
there
disagree.
are 6 SEC teams in the top 25 in total defense. There is one in the ACC at number 25, and it's his own team, Miami.
Which is amazing that they're at 25.
I agree. And look, I like me some Cam Ward. I don't know if the Wonder League matters anymore, but those comments are stupid.
Brett Yormark is pissed off. He's the Big 12 commissioner. He says there's no way that a group of 5 conference champions should get a automatic bye ahead of his conference.
I kind of agree with him on this.
I do too.
It's the system he agreed to, or his conference agreed to.
Yeah, I mean, look, whoever wins that game, whether it's Iowa State or Arizona State, would beat the other.
Yeah. I believe that the journey the Big 12 champion goes on is harder than the journey Boise State's been on. Fair?
The only thing I would say, both Iowa State and Arizona State have not had a more difficult one out-of-conference game than Boise. Now, Boise lost that game.
Yeah, but it played them well.
Yeah.
But so did Idaho. And then there is Shane Beamer, who obviously his team's playing well. He got asked a question on the signing day news conference about being left out and maybe indicating what the future is happening in college football. Here's Shane.
When you kind of look at all the vagueness of what the committee decides and how they can have one priority one year, not one the next, does that influence you in any way going forward? Do you talk with whoever the next AD is about changes?
If you're asking, is there anything to gain by playing in some of these games that you play out of conference? I think it's something that not just us, but every team needs to look at, because clearly you can go through an entire season, not beat a ranked team, and be in the playoff if you just win. So I think it's something. I'm a competitor. I love playing in those games. I'm looking forward to playing Virginia Tech and Atlanta next season. But the committee made it very clear that they really don't give a hoot who you beat. Just, don't lose 3 times and you're in, even if it means you never beat a ranked opponent. Not one. Don't beat a ranked opponent, but just win the games on your schedule and you're in. They made a pretty strong statement about that. Absolutely.
The counter to that argument, though, is that had they beaten Furman Saturday rather than Clemson on the road, the narrative about them would be different.
Oh, it would be a lot different. The Jay Wright version of college football.
Jay Wright? Yep. In what way?
Looks like a smoker.
Oh.
He does.
I thought you were going to give him a compliment that he was like Jay Wright, the coach.
And if you think Sharon Moore's apologetic about Michigan's win over Ohio State, he is not. He is taking the flag that was planted in the middle of the field that caused the ruckus, and he is saying it is going to be displayed inside the Michigan football building from now on. right beside the one they planted in 2022, which is also on display
The
there.
only thing Sharon Moore will ever hang there.
That's the only banner he hangs.
We'll see you tomorrow. Actually, Bud Light game night tonight. We'll see you tonight at 5 p.m. this evening.
At the Grocery in Homewood.
The Grocery in Homewood was part of the Battery right there. Come and see us with our friends at Bud Light tonight. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. That's happening tonight. Until next time, God bless you. God bless America.